Good afternoon, everyone. I'm tracking some severe thunderstorms moving through the area at this time. I'm also testing out this Facebook and YouTube now that I have both working here, so feel free to let me know if you guys can hear me. So I'm broadcasting on both my group page and on YouTube as well. But more importantly, we got two different severe thunderstorm warnings I'm tracking. The stronger one right now is in western Jackson County, off to the west of Scottsboro by a good bit. Let me turn up my volume here. Off to the west of Scottsboro, out towards Skyline and Pleasant Groves, and that warning also includes most of the Sand Mountain communities and up towards the Stevenson area. And we got this second warning here. Now, the middle part has weakened a good bit of the last scan, but there's a northern cell up here towards Cowan and Swanee that's intensified up in the northern end of the warning. So, both of these warnings go into effect here until 4:15 p.m. Central Time. That is 5:15 p.m. Eastern for those of you in the Eastern time zone. So these are two of these warnings here. They're for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Not seeing any hail, but seeing a lot of lightning, torrential downpours, and all the above, minus tornadoes. Now, I'll check the velocity here and see if we got any rotation. And so far, I'm not seeing anything that really concerns me about it. But what I'm seeing here, especially here across Jackson County, is I'm seeing some widespread 60-mile-an-hour gusts being indicated there northeast of the Little Nashville community, heading up towards Skyline, so heading up the mountain and down towards Maynard Cove. And that's going to move out here east towards the Fackler area, so along 72 between Hollywood and Stevenson, heads up if you're traveling along there, get ready for some damaging wind, and that could be on the order of 50 to 60 miles an hour. Now, this was actually indicating a few minutes ago before I came on here of up to 70, but thankfully that has relax just a little bit, but it's still a severe storm because we're still getting some 60s in those bright blues that you see on here. That's 60-mile-an-hour winds, so there's a lot of it here that's moving to the east towards the Highway 72 corridor. And also up here towards Bridgeport, there's another pretty big batch of wind up here that's heading towards Stevenson and Bridgeport, as well as Bryant and Higdon. And let's get back up here into Franklin County. Winds up here are actually intensifying. We're now getting into the 50 to 60 range up here in this bright red area you see here that's going across Swanee, with another pop-up storm to the north up by Woods Reservoir. So we got a couple of heavy storms here. Here's the one that's over Cowan and Swanee moving up towards Mott Eagle. Here's another one here that's currently non-severe over Woods Reservoir that's heading towards Pelham. And here's the big one that's currently severe with a lot of wind and a lot of heavy rain and lightning moving out here towards Highway 72 in the Tennessee River in Jackson County. Now, it does look like most of Marshall County is going to miss out on this cell, and same with most of DeKalb County, especially once you get out here towards Rainsville and Fort Payne. I really don't see, you're technically in the warning down there towards Sylvania, Rainsville, and Fort Payne. I don't think you're going to be impacted by this. This is going to stay to your north, so really it's going to be really anywhere north of Henniger and really from Scottsboro up to Stevenson. That's going to be the corridor of this severe thunderstorm activity. And there's also some more pop-up storms here forming off to the east. Here's one that's over South Pitt and Bridgeport. And here's another one here that's developed right over Highway 58 and 153 in Chattanooga that's heading up towards Harrison. But that one is currently non-severe. And we're also tracking more strong thunderstorms up here in our northern communities. Here's one approaching Cookeville, several in fact actually. And here's one over in DeKalb County, Tennessee, moving into the Smithville area. These are non-severe at this time. Here's another pretty potent storm here to the south and east of Spencer there, right over Fall Creek Falls. Here's some more heavy downpours moving over the McMinnville area, as well as one over Manchester. And some other heavy thunderstorm activity exists from Dayton and up towards Decatur and 10 Mile, moving out of Ray into Meigs County, and this will eventually move into McMinn and Monroe counties here, near and north of Athens, up to Sweetwater and Nyota here over the next 30 minutes or so. But at the moment here, the current severe warnings, as they are right now, are for Franklin County, Tennessee, mainly the eastern part of the county. So even though Winchester's not in this warning, the worst of the activity is to your east. So I believe your severe threat from this thunderstorm, now there's more thunderstorms to come, but from this particular thunderstorm to your east, the threat from that is over. But you got more that are coming in out of Fayetteville that you got to watch closely in case those turn severe. So stay alert up in the Winchester area. But at the moment, your severe threat's diminished for the time being. It's mainly for Swanee at this point in that part of Franklin County. And down here across Jackson County, I think up in High Top, you're good. It's mainly from Skyline and Stevenson south is where the greatest severe threat is, and north of Section and Rainsville. So really anywhere in Jackson County, especially in the central part of the county, and up here towards the eastern end of Franklin County. That's where you do have the severe weather threat at this time. And these storms up in here by Woods Reservoir are intensifying, actually. So probably the outflow from this northern storm is allowing further development here as these storms come up the Cumberland Plateau and head up towards Grundy County. So heads up out here towards Mott Eagle and Pelham and Tracy. These thunderstorms are heading your way. You're probably going to get some torrential rain, some lightning, some gusty winds, and if these storms were to intensify, you may get a severe thunderstorm warning. But at the moment, at least so far, even though this storm here is technically severe to the south, at this moment, I'm not seeing indications of anything really extreme, but I am seeing signs that winds are increasing here. So right over Rorke's Cove, I'm now getting an indication of about 55 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts moving into that area. So everybody in the Rorke's Cove area, just make sure you're away from windows and all that. Wait till this storm passes. And eventually this is going to cross I-24 here within about 5 to 10 minutes. So if you know anybody that's along I-24, that's traveling along I-24 right now, between we'll say between Kimball and Manchester, just make sure they're aware that that there's a pretty strong thunderstorm that's getting ready to cross over the interstate here within the next 10 minutes. I mean, it's moving fairly slowly, but it's going to be there pretty quickly. So we got an intensifying area of damaging wind, not tornadic wind, but damaging wind that's moving towards the southern end of Grundy County. And then we still got this really intense area down in here across central Jackson County. Now what's happening here is, as you're seeing the colors kind of change, it's going to become more of this dominant red here, because remember, the greens mean moving towards the radar and the red means moving away. So as the thunderstorm moves away from the radar, as you see up here, the colors will change course. So you'll go from the green to the red here. So but remember, the terminology stays the same here. The brighter the color of the velocity here, whether it's the red or green, the brighter the color, the stronger the potential for damaging winds is. So that's just something to keep in mind here as it approaches Highway 72 and it gets ready to approach Sand Mountain here very shortly. So those of you in those areas, just need to be on guard for that potential of a strong, severe thunderstorms here over the next little bit. Here, and also I'm reading some of your reports here as tornado threats of these storms. At this time, I'm not seeing any tornado threats. Someone just said here just had massive wind go through Cowan. Do we need to go to shelter in Bridgeport? Thankfully, there's no tornadoes with this at the moment, so I don't see a need for tornado precautions at this time. So that's good news. But again, I'm keeping an eye on things very closely here. And if you guys don't mind that are watching, let's share this out here and let's get this out to as many people as possible here while we have these warnings that are in effect here. And that's actually what I'm in the process of doing right now. So, from my phone here. So I'm sharing this out too. So at the moment here, I'm not seeing any indications of rotation. So that's good. These are mainly what we call straight line winds. These winds are usually on the order, as I've said, 50 to 60 miles an hour. That's what we're seeing with this. So, but again, remember, that can still cause some damage. That can cause trees to come down and all kinds of stuff. So let's check on this little area of wind. I just got an update up here over the Rorke's Cove area. And remember, the severe threshold for a severe thunderstorm is a wind gust of 58 miles an hour or greater. And I'm seeing a 59. So this is a severe wind gust here that's going right across a Rorke's Cove Road. And it's going to head out here very quickly towards the north side of the university down here in Suwanee. And it's going to head out here towards Mont Eagle here very shortly. So, tell you, I-24 is about to get slammed here very shortly with some very strong winds and some torrential rain. Let's see what it looks like on reflectivity. And you can see kind of where it bows right here. You see this little bow echo right here. And also, just to note here, I am also live streaming on YouTube. So I'm also on my YouTube channel at Chase B Weather, so I'm also live on there if you need a second source to watch. So that's just something to keep note of too. So again, I'll relay that again. If you also want to catch this live on YouTube, I'm live there. I'm using a different source, but I'm doing the same thing on there at Chase B Weather. So if you're able to view on YouTube too, it's just another way that I have of being able to present live coverage here. It's another way I can be able to efficiently provide it for you, is also through YouTube and Facebook. So I was able to get that worked out after all that drama I had yesterday for about an hour fighting the restream in the Facebook, and I was able to figure out something this morning that was going to be able to still allow me to do both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So Thank goodness I was able to get something worked out. Sigh of relief. But more importantly, at the moment though, we still got a pretty nasty thunderstorm here down in Jackson County. I mean, you can see by the red and the purple. And remember, the brighter the color on the map, the stronger the indication of strong the severe thunderstorm activity is. So what I'm going to do here is, I've forgotten to do this, and I know you guys like seeing the storm tracks and such, and we also got a warning just northwest of Cannon County there I'll get to in a minute. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go over here to Max 2 and put out a storm track. And also, those of you in Marion County have just been placed under a special weather statement. That's a significant weather advisory. It's not a formal warning. It's just an advisory for strong thunderstorms that are below severe limits. But with a couple of these big downpours that are coming in out of Jackson County and Franklin County, you do run the risk for some gusty winds and heavy rain in some areas. Now, there's a chance a few of you may end up getting away with hardly any rain, but just in case we get a little bit of re-intensification here, that's why this advisory is out in place, to account for that potential. So it's really a precautionary thing as opposed to anything else. But let's track this northeastern one here, and I'll track this northeast at about 30. And this is moving off to the northeast at that speed, so we'll get it out here towards Palmer and Griffith Creek at 30 miles an hour. So Mott Eagle, this will be on your doorstep here pretty much about right now, within about the next couple minutes at 3:46. So that central time is 4:46 p.m. Eastern. Summerfield area around 3:52. Klaus Hill around 3:54. Tracy City around 3:57. Langford Town 3:58. Hobbs Hill around 4 o'clock. Shadrick Hill around 4:03. Again, this is Grundy County. Flat Branch, they're at 4:04. Colmont at 4:07. Greentown at 4:08. Dogtown at 4:09. Grutley Logger around 4:15. So around 4:15 in Grutley Logger. Around 4:20 in Palmer. And again, these are estimated times, so they could easily be a few minutes off. And we just got a new warning here for northeastern Franklin County to account for that cell. So I'll get that information in just a second. So Palmer around 4:20 and Barkertown around 4:25. So let me track this southern end and see how this one's doing down in Jackson County. So this is for, again, 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. It's moving east at 35. So let's move this all the way out here, and I'll give Dade County an extra heads up here. So I'll put a 40-mile-an-hour nose to give you a heads up. So Fackler around 350. Again, this is for Jackson County. Stevenson around 357. Fabius around right around 4 o'clock. Flat Rock around 4:08. Higdon around 4:15. Stewarttown around 4:20, and Trenton around 4:25. So heads up in the Trenton area. You got a pretty rough thunderstorm moving in your direction. That'll be there within the next hour. So heads up there. And up here to the northeast, let's check out this warning here that just got put in effect for the northeastern end of Franklin County. And it expires at 4:15, but this storm is just about to move out of the county, and they just put Grundy under this warning. So Grundy has now been issued a severe thunderstorm warning, but it says here a severe thunderstorm was located over Mott Eagle, or 13 miles east of Winchester. It's moving off to the north and east at 25 miles an hour. Hazard is 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. It's radar indicated, and locations in the path include, it's out of Deckard, but Swanee, Alto, St. Andrews, and Woods Reservoir. So now for those of you in Grundy County, let me get you your warning here. You now have a severe thunderstorm warning for the whole county. This pretty much includes the whole county until 4:30. Again, same thing, located near Overmont Eagle, moving east northeast there at 35. And locations in the path of that include Grutley Logger, Tracy City, Mott Eagle, Altamont, Colmont, Palmer, Beersheba, Pelham, and Fiery Gizzard. So no matter where you are in Grundy County, all of you have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 4:30 p.m. Central Time. That's for the potential of 60-mile-an-hour winds, so 50 to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And it does show the possibility of some hail, but I'm not really seeing a huge indication of hail, but there could be some small hail within this thunderstorm. So let me know what you're seeing. If you're watching from Grundy County, kind of let me know what you're seeing, so that way those reports can be relayed and such. So those of you up in Mott Eagle, batten down the hatches. This storm is moving overhead pretty much right now. So you got a pretty strong thunderstorm moving in with the potential for some small hail and damaging winds, and that's going to go right up 41 here. So Summerfield area and pretty close to the areas that were hit by that tornado back in April. This is going to go back into those areas. Now, this is not a tornado, but this storm track's going to go right through those same areas. So it's going to go right down 41 out there towards the lakes and eventually downtown Tracy City here within the next 10 minutes. So it's going to be there pretty quickly. Good thing is this storm is moving, so it's not going to sit for ever and ever like usual summer thunderstorms do. At least this has some movement to it, so it'll move through 10, 20 minutes. Then it'll move out, but those few minutes though are going to be pretty intense. So get ready, and when you see a bow kind of like this right here, you see on this leading edge, that's an indication right there of some damaging winds. So again, heads up for everybody up there towards Pelham and Tracy and even Mott Eagle, it's on top of you now, and eventually up towards Colmont, Elkhead area, Payne Cove, and up towards the Grundy County High School, Grutley, Palmer, Altamont. This is all heading your way here over the next 20 to 30 minutes. So within the next half hour, this severe thunderstorm that's been classified as severe is going to move up in your direction. So it's going to follow all through 41 and 56 and 108, the whole 9 yards here. So now this storm could potentially clip the northern end of Marion County, so it might possibly impact down closer to Foster Falls. It might go up towards Griffith Creek or the Pocket, but at the moment here, this does appear that this is mainly going to be a Grundy County storm, and I put this on a frame here to show you the direction, but it does appear that this storm will also impact those of you in northern Marion County, specifically north of Whitwell, so on the mountain basically. So up 108 up on the mountain towards Griffith Creek, you'll probably have this severe thunderstorm impact you. Even though you don't have a formal warning at the moment, you still run the risk for a pretty nasty thunderstorm here that'll be moving through your area within the next little bit. So heads up there across Grundy County and also far northern Marion County. And really for Franklin County, we can kind of take you out of the worst of this now, because the worst of this is quickly passing to your north and east, even though the eastern end of the county still has some heavy rain, some lightning, and perhaps some gusty winds. But the worst of it, at least as far as the wind damage potential is concerned, is moving to the east and crossing over I-24 right now. So that's the way I'm seeing it at the moment. And let me make sure I'm not missing anything else on this. At this time, it says here, just hit Mott Eagle at Wren's Nest, high winds. After that, for Grundy, should we be all clear? Unfortunately, there's more storms moving in from the west, so you'll be all clear from this first storm, but there's more moving in back here from the west towards Fayetteville that we're going to be tracking too as that moves off to the east. So you'll be clear for a little bit over there in Grundy County after this severe storm clears you, but you got this other line back out here to the west that's heading your way. So just a heads up for those of you in Franklin County and eventually back up into Coffee County and Grundy County as well. So let's check on our other severe storm here real quick down in Jackson counties, because remember we got two different warnings here that we're tackling here. Good thing here is it does appear this southern one's kind of lost its intensity, at least on the wind potential. Now granted, we are looking a little lower here considering how close this is to the radar site, but again, I don't really see any major damaging wind indications this time. I mean, most of the winds in here are actually more closer to 50 miles an hour as opposed to let's just say 60 to 70 like it was earlier out in your skyline, but it's still pretty strong here as it crosses over 72 and heads out here towards Sand Mountain, eventually up the mountain here. So heads up in those areas and eventually out here towards Flat Rock, Pisgah, Henniger, Eider, and out here towards, again, there's Sulphur Springs, Old Fabius, Overlook, Higdon, eventually up here towards Bryant. Now, Bryant's going to get kind of clipped by this. This may pass just south of there and just a little south of Bridgeport, but you're close enough and still technically in the warning here to still need to be aware. Now, I do want to note here real quick, we got some other strong storms that have developed here across southwestern Marion County and also in the southern end of the county up here towards Kimball and Jasper. These storms right now are non-severe, but they could grow severe at any time. Remember, the atmosphere is pretty unstable, so just something to keep in mind. Now, I'm getting an indication up here, just north of Mott Eagle now. We're getting some hail being indicated up in here, so going right down the mountain here. So there's 41. You got all the homes up in here. So over North Bluff Drive and out here towards the Summerfield area, there's a growing potential for some hail within this thunderstorm as it moves off to the east and northeast. So heads up here, Klaus Hill Road area, Sanders Crossing, so up by Campbell's Armory and down towards the reservoir that's down there where all the tiny homes are. That's going to be this area where we have the potential for hail. And not just that, some very strong winds. I mean, look at the wind being indicated on this. Oh my goodness, this is showing 73. Now this is a little up in the clouds, so it may not be really like that at the surface, but that's still strong enough, especially 60 to 65. That's strong enough right there to really cause problems. So definitely be away from windows up in here, especially on the north side of Tracy City and heading up here towards Colmont and Greeley Logger. I mean, this right here, when you get wind gusts in the 60 to 70 mile an hour range, that's when power outages start. That's when trees start coming down. So definitely take that seriously. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get an updated track on that, and I'm going to track it from that wind, that big wind gust that's going across the western end of the county. I mean, that's a very, very strong indications of a downburst wind that's moving off to the north and east. So let's track this out here at 40 miles an hour. And again, we'll split the difference here and show at least most of the county here. So 40. And this will be Bergmantown around 4 o'clock, Colmont around 4:03, Dogtown around 4:05, Grutley around 4:10, and Beersheba and Altamont between 4:10 and 4:20. So this is where that's heading. And now I know Palmer's technically not in this, so let me update this, and I'll move that here to the right just in case it were to move right, so you get some advance notice. That's moving east at about 40. And Palmer, this will be near you, also between 4:10 and 4:15. So really heads up anywhere in Grundy County, from Beersheba south to Tracy City, and east to Palmer and the Sequatchie County line. You got a pretty strong wind damage potential here as it moves off to the northeast. I mean, you don't see very bright colors like this very often, especially once you get up here into the apricot kind of colors here. You really got to take this serious here. So this is just something we got to watch over the next few minutes. Now, thankfully, it's not rotating wind, so we're not seeing rotation. It's just a very strong downburst wind. That's a straight line wind that runs in one direction. So this is going to be a very strong west to east wind. So if there's any trees that get blown down, that's the direction they're going to get blown in. They're going to be blown from west to east. So just keep that in mind up here along Highway 56 and along 108 up there. And out here, down here, back in the Jackson County, just got another scan down here. Still getting some strong indications of a gusty wind down here, moving across 117, just on the south side of Stevenson here. Now, not as strong as the one up in Grundy. This one's kind of lessened its intensity just a little, but again, I'm still watching this little bow right here that indicates the potential for some damaging winds as that heads up Sand Mountain here and heads up towards 73 and 71. So heads up in those areas, eventually towards Eider and up towards Shiloh, Higdon area, and then Dade County. You guys are next up in line for this. So that's what I'm seeing at the moment for those areas. Here's a new radar scan. Still getting some indications of some hail in here, approaching Klaus Hill, and another strong storm developing out here in the Alto, Wilder Chapel area of Franklin County, moving northeast towards Pelham. But right now, this is really the main area. And when you see the reds and greens like this, like that are very close to each other, that the separation is so short, what you're probably seeing on the leading edge of this storm up here towards Colmont and Tracy at the moment, on the leading edge, you're probably seeing this strong shelf cloud because the gradient is so sharp from no rain to torrential downpour. You're probably getting a shelf cloud. And it's not a tornado cloud, but it's a shelf cloud on the leading edge of the storms. The winds start picking up, and then the rain begins. So you're going to get some very strong winds. So first of all, you'll have the shelf cloud, you'll have the very strong winds picking up, and then the rain's going to start blowing in. So that's just how this is going to roll here. And there's also some frequent lightning in this too. So as I said, just make sure you're inside, away from windows. Wait the 30-minute rule, and then once this passes and you get a little bit of clearing for a little bit, then you can go about whatever you were doing. But right now, let's just stay inside and stay away from windows. Let's check it, see how these wind gusts are looking now. Thankfully, come down a little bit, down to 65, but again, that's still severe, so that's still intense. So Klaus Hill Road, Lakeview Lane, that's the area where the heaviest the activity is. Chevy Road. So we're going down here towards Summerfield. There's Summerfield and Klaus Hill. That's the intersection where this is. There's Sarton Springs. We're going down here towards Brawley Road. And here we are out here towards Sanders Crossing. So there's Fire Tower Road right there. The Campbell's Armory area and is right here. So we got up here towards Des Church Road, Sally Branch Road. These are the areas that are next up for this high wind. Also, Payne Cove is getting this too. So Payne Cove Road, Bear Hollow Road, and this is heading out here towards Sweeten Hill and Highway 56 and heading up here towards Colmont Elementary School. So this is the area where I'm seeing the potential for strong damaging winds at this time. And that's going to be the area that we'll be seeing this over the next 30 minutes or so. At least as far as the warning is concerned, the warning expires in 31 minutes. So again, potential is there for 55 to 65 mile an hour wind gusts as this crosses through Grundy County. And again, if you're up there watching or anything, just let me know what you're seeing and whatever it is. Again, right now I'm not seeing any other severe storms in other areas besides Sand Mountain and Grundy County at the moment. But again, these storms down in Marion County are starting to intensify. You see this one right here moving up into Sweetens Cove off South Pitt Mountain. Here's another one that's forming over Jasper. Now, so far these are non-severe. But again, with the environment that these storms are in today, that's very unstable, they could grow severe here pretty quickly, especially if we get a merger of some kind here that takes place. So if these two were to merge, there's a chance that it could grow severe here, at least with the potential for a strong wind gust. So again, definitely getting some bright red in here that indicates some strong wind, but thankfully I'll check the velocity on that, make sure that's non-severe. We're seeing a 40 mile an hour wind gust in that, moving into Sweetens Cove. So it's a strong storm, but thankfully below severe levels there. So just watch out and just make sure you're inside and such there in Marion County. Same thing with Grundy County. Make sure you're inside and away from windows. And also same thing Sand Mountain. I mean, the highest wind gusts are currently, at least in this storm, are already crossing up the mountains. So here's Highway 71. So Pisgah, all the way up through Flat Rock. So Shiloh area, Higdon. This is the area that's next in line for this. So Stevenson, you're about to get in on this very shortly. If you haven't, you will be very soon. And down towards Hollywood, you're already in on it. In Scottsboro, this is to your north mostly, so the worst of it's to your north and east. But again, I do want to point out here, this line out here to the west is starting to develop, and it's actually intensified a little bit as of recent, but so far I'm not seeing any really strong wind indications, at least at this time. But again, that could intensify as it moves east into areas of western Franklin County that haven't seen much today. So the air over in here is actually worked over, which could weaken this, but at the same time in western Franklin County, especially Winchester and West, there really hasn't been much activity out in here today, so it could allow these storms to at least briefly pulse up and possibly intensify. So heads up in those areas, and again, these storms up in here across Pikeville and east of McMinnville and up towards Smithville and Decatur, these are non-severe at the moment. So here's an update on the Grundy County situation here. Now the good news is I'm not seeing any major hail signatures anymore. I'm seeing mostly strong winds, again 50 to 60 miles an hour. Maybe an isolated pea-sized hailstone mixed in with a heavier storm core or something in here, but really this is more of a wind deal than it is a hail deal. So, but again, those winds could be serious. So this is going right down 108. So here's 108 running from west to east. Here's 399 right here. Fredonia Road and Sequatchie counties over here to the right, and that's where that's heading. So those areas up in here need to be on guard for the potential of damaging winds. It says here, driving through Foster Falls, light rain but very dark clouds ahead, getting some winds in Tracy. And unfortunately, this is going to be lasting through most of the evening here. So we're going to continue to have these storms popping up on and off here throughout really the evening here. And there's still more activity trying to form out here towards West Tennessee. So we still got several hours to go of this risk for strong to severe storms. Now, not everybody's going to get a severe storm, but areas that do get storms, as in what Jackson County and Grundy County are experiencing, they could be quite intense. So it's just something we have to keep an eye out on and something to be aware of. Pouring some hail in Tracy City. Lights are off in Tracy now, and getting some more hail reports coming in from Summerfield and Mott Eagle as well from a few minutes ago. So, again, this storm is definitely verifying, at least on the strong storm potential here. It's definitely producing some very intense winds and some heavy rain, and it did produce some hail earlier, even though I believe we've lost the majority of that signature here, at least now as of 4:03. So hopefully that's a sign that things will weaken here with time. But again, we just got to stay vigilant here over the next few hours as this moves off to the north and east again. continue to share this stream, and let's get this out to as many people as we can here, just so, since we have these warnings here in effect, just make sure everybody's alerted. And I'll check on these storms here to the north and east just to make sure we don't have any rotations or anything like that, and I don't see anything up here. So Spencer, y'all are good. That's just a strong storm there. Same with Pikeville. Decatur, Dayton, y'all are good with this. Just some heavy thunderstorms there. Same with Athens. And in this cell here, moving into Ottawa, that one's just a heavy downpour. Jasper area, that's a heavy downpour there too. Now this one to the west, though, might have to be really watched out here to the west of Kimball, because it does, yeah, the winds are actually ramping up in that one. Let's see what the winds are looking like now. That went up to 49, so we're within about 10 miles an hour of the severe threshold here. So definitely getting an intensification here out in the western end of Marion County, over here on South Pitt Mountain and down in towards Battle Creek and Sweetens Cove right now. So and the direction that's moving in is east. So that is moving towards Kimball. That's moving towards South Pitt. And that's moving towards Jasper. So heads up here. You got some you already got a heavy storm in Jasper, but it's about to get heavier here within the next 10 minutes. This one's heading your way. Now, there's no warning on this right now, but there's that possibility that it could intensify furthermore, and you may have to get put under a severe thunderstorm warning at some point. So heads up here also towards Little Squatchy, Jasper Highlands. Here's Griffith Highway right in here. Here's 28. And eventually out here towards Bennett Lake, Nickajack Lake, and out towards Prentice Cooper. This is also heading your way too. So heads up in those areas. No warning officially in southern Marion County, but you still have that potential for strong wind gusts, heavy rain, and lightning. And here's another storm that's blowing up here to the north and east of Hillsborough very quickly from the outflow of this severe storm in Grundy. So heading up here towards Viola, heading out towards the Hickson community. That road right there is Cabbage Patch. So this is actually heading into the Cabbage Patch area. And moving up here along 108, so North Cuts Cove, Hubbard's Cove area, Winton Town. That's where that's going towards. So Beersheba, heads up to you. You got a strong thunderstorm approaching from the west. The severe storm looks like it's going to pass just to your south here and be more of an Altamont and south issue, but you're probably going to get impacted by this storm that's to your west. So heads up here around Savage Gulf and up towards Beersheba Springs here over the next 20 to 30 minutes. And then here's 108, and as I said, it's getting hammered right now, some strong winds and heavy rain. No longer seeing much of a hail signature, and let's check on the wind here and see if we got any update there. Thankfully, that's calmed down to about 55. Now, it's very strong still, but it's thankfully lessening. We're not seeing that 70 that it was earlier, so that's good. So it's about 15 lower. But again, 50 to 60 mile an hour wind is still significant. That's still technically, low and severe. So crossing over 56, so close to Cumberland Heights is where this is crossing over. This heaviest area is. And it's getting ready to head out here into the Savage Gulf area on the north side of Grittley, so pretty close to where the ball fields are and all that stuff. And let me read this new update that's coming across the wire here. This is the severe thunderstorm warning update. It says here, a severe thunderstorm was located near Grittley Logger, or 19 miles west of Dunlap, and the movement is northeast at 35 miles an hour. Hazard is 60 mile an hour wind gusts and a quarter size hail, even though I do think the hail threat's diminished here, at least right now. Source is radar indicated. Expect wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. And we just got a warning in for Marion, so just when I was talking about that cell down south intensifying. So before I get there, let me read you these locations in Grundy that are in the path. So Colmont, Grittley, Palmer, and Beersheba. You guys are in the path of that severe storm to the north. So let me get down here to Marion County and also Hamilton. They've also included part of Hamilton County. So this includes Lookout Valley and Tiftonia. So you guys are in this severe thunderstorm warning. So let's get you the information on that. It says a severe thunderstorm was located over South Pittsburgh or near Jasper. It's moving off to the east at 25 miles an hour. And hazard is quarter-size hail and 60 mile an hour winds. It is radar indicated. Locations that are in the path of this storm right here include Chattanooga, Jasper, South Pittsburgh, Whitwell, Kimball, Powell's Crossroads, Orem, Martin Springs, Haletown, and Hicks Gap State Park. So those are the locations impacted by this severe storm. So again, Marion County, severe thunderstorm warning until 5:45 p.m. Eastern, 4:45 p.m. Central. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for Jackson County until the next 6 minutes here until 4:15. Also includes a far northwest tip of Cobb County, Alabama as well. And up here towards Grundy County, your severe thunderstorm warning again remains in effect until 4:30. So we got 4 different counties, actually 5 different counties under severe thunderstorm warnings. Hamilton and Marion, and as for Hamilton, it's the very far southwest tip of the county. So that'd be Lookout Valley, Raccoon Mountain area, TVA, all that area down in there. Browns Ferry. So really, you could draw a line from Browns Ferry Road and points west. That's the warning area in Hamilton County. And in Marion County, it's basically Orm Mountain Road and east, and 283 and Crossroads in Whitwell and points south. So you kind of draw a little rectangle around that area, or circle. That's the area that's under the warning. So that includes all the major cities of Marion County. So that would be Jasper, Kimball, South Pitt. That's exactly who this covers here. Let's check and see what the winds are looking like here. As I said, they continue to ramp up here. And right there showing 51 right in there. So right over the river there, just northeast of downtown South Pitt. So this is going to go right up the river up here towards what used to be called Grandview, but now that's Park Ridge West. So that's where that's going. And it's heading out here just south of Walmart, or very close to there. And it's going to be just north of the Lodge facility. So the Lodge facility right here is just on the south side of this heavy wind area. And this is moving off to the north and east. So Rankin Cove, so heads up out here towards Loves and Speedway. You got a strong thunderstorm. You got a severe thunderstorm that is about to move in shortly. And as I said, Jasper right now is getting the brunt of this. So all areas around Ingalls, towards the schools, City Park, the square, intense lightning, torrential rain, potential for damaging winds. Also, Kimball and South Pitt, you're experiencing the same thing. Sweetens Cove, it's basically out of your area now. So the good news is if you're in Sweetens Cove, this is east of you now. So this is sliding east here fairly quickly. And Haletown, this is going to be on your doorstep too within the hour. So heads up out here towards Haletown, down to New Hope. New Hope, this is coming in on you right now. So heavy rain, gusty winds heading moving in now. And this is eventually going to head out towards Whiteside, Etna Mountain, and head up here towards Mullins Cove Road, towards Kettner Mill, Victoria. There's a little squatch there along Valley View Highway. This is going to be the zone in here across southern Marion County that does have the potential for damaging winds here over the next, that warning goes in effect through the next 35 minutes. So again, those areas need to be, everybody in the highlighted orange areas, so I'll zoom out here and show you who's in the warning. So there's Jackson County. Warning expires here in about 5 minutes, and that storm thankfully is continuing to weaken. So I got my doubts they'll extend that one, but so right now, really, the two most intense areas are across Grundy County and Marion County. Those are the two areas that really have the most intense, strong to severe thunderstorm activity. So I have this on the overall view so everybody can see where the warnings are that are highlighted in the orange and who's getting the really intense stuff right now. So looks like the worst of that's actually now just getting it past South Pitt. So South Pitt, you're out of the woods on this one. This is moving across the river now. So it's going to be New Hope and up to Jasper now. That's going to be where that's moving in. And let me make sure I'm also getting this warning out too on my social here, at least the written text version. Not seeing anything else, not seeing any other reports here on the wire of any like emergency management or anything like that as far as damage or anything like that. But I can imagine with how strong some of these wind gusts have been so far in some areas, I can imagine there's probably been at least some tree damage, if not some minor power outages. So there's probably been at least, I'd imagine, some very strong wind damage, especially considering how strong these wind gusts have been. I mean, we've been getting some 70s and some 60s and all that up in here. So it's just something we got to keep in mind of here over the next little bit. So lightning is actually increased. So again, here's something that you always have to note of too. When the lightning increases in any thunderstorm, like this one in Marion, the thing is, when you see lightning increasing like that, that's an indication of a very strong thunderstorm. That also indicates strengthening. So that's just something to keep in mind over the next little bit here. So just a heads up in those areas again. So Jasper, Kimball, points east, Here's Griffith Highway. There's Kettner Mill, Haletown area. Here's your heads up. Let's check back up. Let's check back up here on Grundy County. Again, pretty much most of the county except for Mott Eagle is really getting the brunt of this right now. Some very heavy storms, and the wind, unfortunately, is actually ramped back up a little bit because of the storm interactions. Again, now we're getting back up to severe gusts again. So right around Altamont and heading up here towards Beersheba, we're getting a storm merger up in here. So as these storms merge, they're going to intensify a little up in here, at least for about 10-15 minutes roughly. So just a heads up in here, especially along and east of Highway 56, here along 108 and up 399. Just giving you your heads up here that you have the potential for damaging winds, torrential rain, and quite a bit of lightning. And the lightning is also increased with this too. So just giving you a heads up there right now that you have that potential for damaging winds. Now let me get you the storm track on this southern storm. Again, where that bright pink area is, that's where we got that potential for damaging wind in southern Marion County. So what I'm going to do is pull a track on that, and we'll track this towards Chattanooga here at roughly 25. We'll put it east at 30. Again, Rankin Cove here at 420. Lookout Mountain there at 416. Ruby Falls around 417. So heading out here towards downtown Chattanooga around 4:57. That's 5:57 Eastern time. And in Lakeview there in North Georgia there around 5:58. So Haletown area, that would be about 10 minutes, roughly 5 minutes for you. And other areas in between about the same. So as I said, it's a pretty severe storm. That's a pretty bad severe storm here moving across southern Marion County. Now the good thing is at least the reflectivity does seem to have kind of at least the lowest lessened a little bit, but we're still getting this little pink area right here close to the middle school and all that here that might indicate a little bit of small hail being indicated in this storm. So just a heads up there. Heading up here towards the Nicholtown area, and that's actually lessened a little bit too, so that's good. But heading down here towards East Valley Road. So there's 28. That right there is Lassiter. That's Lassiter that goes up here towards Valley View and Squatchy. So up here towards also Francis Spring. So this is heading up towards the Francis Spring area in Marion County. Hall Road. There's Griffith Highway. Kettner Mill is about right up in here. So Kettner Mill Road's right here. There's 28. There's Valley View. Coppinger Cove sits right here. So that's the area where that's going. And then look at this up in here across eastern Grundy County. So Savage Gulf is likely getting some hail right now. So north of 108 is where this hail is in Grundy County. And that's moving right up over Savage Gulf and on the north side of Groot Lago. So pretty close to where the ball fields and all that are. That's exactly the area where I'm seeing this heavy activity right now, where the strongest winds are, and also the potential for some hail. And thankfully, no tornadoes with this. And I'll emphasize this right now. I'm not seeing indications of tornadoes. Trust me, I would be probably jumping up and down about it right now, at least as far as looking for the rotations if I were seeing it. But right now, what I'm seeing here are very strong, what we call downburst winds. So those are those west to east straight line winds that can knock down trees and cause power outages and such when the winds especially get up into the 60-mile-an-hour range, which is why we have these warnings. So again, if you're out here towards Winchester, you do have another strong line of thunderstorms moving your way, but at the moment, they have not intensified. They're still technically in a favorable environment, but I do believe that does decrease because of these other storms to the east here as you move up towards Sewanee. So I do have some hope here that we'll have some weakening here as it moves up towards Sewanee and eventually back up towards Grundy and Marion counties. But again, that can't be guaranteed. And also, we got some other strong storms too. Pikeville area's getting one, same with Spencer. And also, I hear east towards Athens and towards Englewood. You got another strong storm out that way. So, again, really, multiple areas are seeing strong storms, but the worst of the severe storms are in Marion and Grundy counties at the moment. Now, I do want to note here we no longer have a severe thunderstorm warning down south. For those of you in Jackson County and DeKalb County, your warning has been allowed to expire. That storm has significantly weakened over the last few minutes as it's moved up the mountain here. So, good news for those of you on Sand Mountain. You just got some heavy thunderstorms with some lightning and heavy rain, perhaps some gusty winds, but you don't have anything to worry about there. And Dade and Walker counties, at least right now, you guys are good too. So, the worst of everything right now is to your north on the Tennessee side. So, again, areas that right now that need to be kind of, at least away from windows and inside, are from basically Tracy City and Altamont East over here to the Sequatchie County line, and in areas basically east of Kimball and South Pitt, so roughly from Jasper north and east, and also south, and out here towards Nickajack Lake, and head up around the mountain here. So there's 41 that goes around Etna and moves up here towards the Raccoon Mountain area. That's going to be where this is heading next. So here's Prentice Cooper. There's the Suck Creek area. That's where this heavy thunderstorm is moving towards. Let's see if we got any update on the wind. And thankfully, that has actually lessened a little bit too. So some really good news on this one. Now, usually as in the case of most summertime storms, they'll pulse up for about 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes, and then they'll tend to weaken down. So they usually go in cycles. They're more of cycles than anything. But when they increase, and they can get pretty intense in a hurry. So definitely seeing that up in here to the south and east of downtown Beersheba Springs here. So right over the Savage Gulf area. And it's moving towards Cagle Mountain. So although Sequatchie has no formal warning right now, you still have that potential for a 50 to 60 mile an hour winds up here towards Cagle Mountain. So maybe not so much Dunlap, but up here towards Cagle Mountain heads up. So right along Highway 8, 111, so out there where that intersection is, and down where the trading post is there in Cagle, you got that potential for some very strong winds that are heading your way over the next few minutes. So this is your heads up to make sure you are aware and just seeking shelter here until this passes. And we got another warning that's just been issued for Grundy County. So this is for that 60 mile an hour wind potential, and they're still showing the potential for hail as well. So there's your new warning that has just been issued. So this includes, and I'll actually have to highlight this because there's overlapping here. So let me move this out of the way, and I'll highlight that area for you. So right in here, this is where the new warning is. So that's the new severe thunderstorm warning, and that's going to go in effect until, let me get a time on that. That's going to go in effect for the next 23 minutes. So it goes in effect here until 4:45. So a severe thunderstorm was located near Grootley Logger, or 13 miles west of Dunlap, and it's moving northeast at 35 miles an hour. And those of you in Altamont, Grootley Logger, Palmer, and Beersheba Springs are in the path of this dangerous storm. So those of you in the northeastern end of Grundy County, now this does not include Tracy City. So you're Tracy City, Monteagle, you're out of this. So if you're in Pelham and Tracy and Monteagle, and really areas west of 56 and Colmont, the worst of this is to your north and east now. So from this severe storm, from this one storm, you're good. So that's the good news for those areas. But I'm still seeing that indication here, and the hail core is actually re-intensifying here again as it moves up here towards 399. So again, I highlighted the area that currently has that warning, and again, the flashing polygon you see here, that's an update to the old warning. So this is the old one. The highlighted area I just drew, that's the new warning. And eventually, if this continues to hold its strength, I would expect a warning here for northern Sequatchie County and also Bledsoe County. So Bledsoe County, you got a pretty rough thunderstorm here that's moving northeast. You're already getting big thunderstorms, but here's the severe one that you got to watch out for that's going to be over there within the next 30 minutes. So I'm giving you your heads up here ahead of time so you can be ready for it just in case it comes. I mean, hopefully it weakens between now and then. But again, we can't necessarily guarantee that. So just giving you your alert here that you do have that potential for some very intense thunderstorms that could produce intense wind, heavy rainfall, lightning, and perhaps some hail over the next little bit here as this moves off to the north and east. So what I'm doing here also is making sure I get this warning information also released here too, publicly on the Facebook here. That's why I'm typing this out here too. I'm actually copy and pasting this just to make sure this goes out. But again, so Marion County, severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for you. And there's that new warning for Sequatchie and Bledsoe as I just spoke. So let's get in to see who's in and who's out of that one. So Cagle Mountain you're in, and same with Brockdale Mountain. So the only areas of Sequatchie and Bledsoe that are in the warning right now, so let me remove that drawing symbol there. The only areas of Sequatchie and Bledsoe that are in the warning are Cagle Mountain and Brockdale Mountain. So those are the only areas right now that have that warning, at least as far as in those counties. So Dunlap, you're not included. Cartwright, you're not included. Pikeville, you're not included. New Harmony, you guys are not included. So This is north of you. Now, Dunlap, you're going to get some heavy thunderstorms. Don't get me wrong here from this to the west, but the severe stuff is going to go to your north. So that's going to head up here right up by 399. So really from the trading post and up north towards the Dollar General up there, right near the 399 junction, and up here towards the Highway 8 junction up in here, that's going to be the zone where this severe storm crosses here over the next 30 minutes or so. So there's your heads up there for those of you in along Highway 8 and 399. Again, in Grundy County, this is for areas north and east of Highway 108. So really the southwest half of the county, your severe threat from this thunderstorm is done, but you got more storms approaching from the west. But at the moment, you're clear from this, while areas north and east of 108 are not quite in the clear here just yet. So that's the way I'm seeing it at this time. And back down here to the south, let's check on this Marion storm here. So Whitwell, you guys are getting the heaviest of this right now. Palace Crossroads, same thing. Suck Creek, you're about to get in on this. And Jasper, the worst is pretty much done, in at least in downtown Jasper. But to the north and east sides of town, it's still rumbling pretty heavy. Just look at all the lightning in this. A ton of lightning. Over a Little Squatchy, so right along Valley View there. There's Squatchy Mountain Road right in here. That's 28. Griffith Highway runs right here. So you got up in here, you got Kettner Mill area. This is the heaviest of where this is right now. So this area is seeing where the heaviest activity is. And getting some strong indications of wind up here too, right around Wiley Ross Road. So Wiley Ross Road is an area where that's seeing the heaviest wind, at least according to Doppler radar. 53 mile an hour gusts being indicated there. There's one over Coppinger Cove at 48. There's one just east of the Pittman store there in Little Squatchy there at 46. And out here towards the airport, so east of the Marion County Airport in Jasper, there's a gust there of 46 being indicated. And also down here east of Rankin Cove there, up upon Little Cedar Mountain there around 44. So those are the little hot spots here that the Weather Service is showing. Also the possibility of wind damage and also the potential for some very torrential rain. And the hail threat in this one does not really strike out to me. This is really, as I said, just a big, heavy soaker with the potential for damaging winds here as that moves off to the south and east. North and east, I should say, not southeast, but northeast. So what I'm doing here also is making sure this warning also gets put out. This is for this warning for Squatchy and Bledsoe runs in effect here. Let me get you the time frame on that. That goes in effect for 34 minutes. That goes in effect till 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, Eastern Time. So the only areas, I'll reemphasize this again, so the only areas in Squatchy County that have the severe thunderstorm warning is mainly along 399 and Fredonia Road, up here towards where the trading post is, and up towards Cagle Mountain and the Dollar General, and up towards the 8 Junction. That's the only area of the county that has that warning. And the only area of Bledsoe County that has this warning is Brockdale Road, Dill, Hitchcock's, out here towards Old Cumberland, and also the Brockdale area, and I'll even say Lee Stations technically. You're technically on the outside of this. I think you're close enough up there to kind of also be considered in the warning too, because you are close enough to see this severe storm move your way over the next little bit. So again, we still got this other strong storm too, also McDonald, Ooltewah heading towards Cleveland, so heads up in the Cleveland area. You got some rough weather moving in. This also includes areas up here towards east of Athens, towards Englewood. You got some severe weather moving in now. And also east of Pikeville, you got another strong storm up there to the east, moving up the mountain. So that's going to head up here towards Spring City, Evansville area, and points in between from there. So those are the main areas right now where I'm seeing the possibility of some damaging winds. Palmer got a lot of wind and rain, heavy wind in Whitwell, heavy rain and wind in Grutley and Palmer. I'm just reading some of the reports I'm seeing on here. And again, I'll give some more all clears here. If you're in Colmont and points west from this severe storm, now remember the storm threat overall is not done, but from this one severe storm, it is cleared you to the north and east. So if you're in Colmont, Tracy, Pelham, Mott Eagle, and even Grutley, I'll go ahead and give Grutley all clear because that's moving north of there. Same with Palmer. So really the southern half of Grundy, south of 108. From this severe storm, it has cleared you. You're good for now, at least. That's moved all to your north and east. And in Marion County, Jasper and points west, you guys are good. So South Pitt, Kimball, Orem, up to Mont Eagle, you guys are good now. This is to your east. At least this one severe storm is to your east. So and also back out here to the west. And the reason why I say not clear overall just yet, not all clear overall, is because we still got this one little line out here that's out here towards 41A, so crossing over Estill Springs and Deckard and Winchester at this time. Now, it's non-severe, but there's still that risk that they could hold together and perhaps re-intensify as it moves out to the east. Now, technically, the air over here is a little more stable from this severe storm that's exiting Grundy County, but still, there's a chance if it does hold together, it will move back into the Grundy County area, and this is definitely going to be affecting Coffee County, because Coffee County is a little more unstable up in here. So heads up here towards Manchester. You've got a pretty rough thunderstorm moving your way. Strong winds being indicated. Not seeing any rotation, thankfully, so some promising news there. And again, we still got this other warning here that's in effect up here. Really the most severe activity, in my opinion, at least from what I'm seeing on radar, is right up in here. So right over Cagle Mountain is where the worst of this is now, with more heavy downpours and storms stretching back to about Hillsboro and moving out to as far east as Lee Station. So there's a whole, basically, almost pretty much 40, 50-mile-an-hour corridor right here west to east, where there's some really heavy rain, torrential, of course, the torrential rain, the lightning, and I would not rule out the possibility that there could be some localized flash flooding in some localized spots because of all this training, considering the direction these are moving in. As you can see, it's basically west to east. So with this west to east movement, it could allow some training to happen in here. So areas around Beersheba Springs, up to Cagle, and points in between in there, I would be on the lookout for some localized minor flash flooding in here, because you're having a lot of rain that's falling over a short amount of time, that's still falling, just coming down in buckets up in here. And with more storm activity moving in from Tullahoma here, you're going to have that potential for flash flooding is going to increase. So we'll just have to see what happens from there. But again, we're not quite done yet with any kind of storms here, at least because we still got a long way to go. I mean, it's not going to be till later tonight before we're really all clear from any of these bigger storms. So unfortunately, we're really in this for the long haul for the evening. So as I said, we got a long way to go. Again, winds continue to decrease down here across northeastern Marion County, so that's good news. The winds have continued to lower. I'm no longer seeing indications of a severe storm up in here, but I'm seeing a strong storm with likely some 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts moving over Victoria and Whitwell and up towards Crossroads and Suck Creek Mountain. And this is going to head out here towards Signal, and Mowbray's over here, so heads up towards Asadi and Red Bank and Hickson. This is all heading your way, and eventually out here towards Lakeside as well. That's where this is heading. So we'll see if they extend this warning, but I really don't see it being a severe storm, at least at the moment. Now, of course, that could always change, and it could pulse back up again. Remember, these storms can cycle. I mean, there was a supercell in West Texas yesterday in the Lubbock area that produced multiple tornado warnings in that area, and it looked like it was going to go away for a few minutes, and it kept re-intensifying. And that's usually when you get these in this kind of situation here, when you got these storms, these pop-up storms like this, they will tend to cycle. They'll weaken a little bit, then they'll get really strong again, and it's just up and down, basically. So no tornado threat for us this time around, at least right now with these. But what I'm saying here is that these storms will do have that tendency, and they will likely continue doing this, where they'll pulse up, get really strong, winds will probably crank up, hail size may increase, and then all of a sudden, a few minutes later, the storm sort of collapses, and it weakens, and then it goes back up again. It's just going to be that up and down cycle we're going to have to deal with here, considering the environment that these thunderstorms are in. As I said, it's an unstable environment that's favorable for strong to severe storms, and that's going to continue here through the evening hours. So, unfortunately, here that's just the way it's going to go here over the next several hours here as we go forward. So again, areas up in here across northern Sequatchie County, western Bledsoe County, your severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for the next 27 minutes until 5 o'clock. Marion County, your warning expires here in about 10 minutes, which is 4:45, so you got about 10 more minutes on this. But as I said, if you're in Jasper and South Pitt, The worst of this cell is east of you. You got more rain approaching here that'll come in within the next hour, but as far as this severe storm goes, it is off to your east now, and the warning really to me is mainly out here towards the Suck Creek Mountain area. That's the only area I'm seeing that's seeing like the real, at least as far as wind is concerned, that's the only area I'm really seeing the stronger wind gusts, at least at the moment. Now that could obviously, shift south. So that's what I'm saying. That's why we also have this little heavier cell also moving into Whiteside too. So you got a heavy storm moving in that area. But again, at least at the moment, I'm not seeing any indications of rotation or anything like that. And really, so far, I mean, we've had a couple of areas that have tried to spin today. I mean, there was one east of Spencer that was trying to do it earlier this afternoon, and there was one near McMinnville that was trying. I mean, there were a couple early on that did try to spin a little bit because there is a little bit of shear, but thankfully they did not last long, and that's usually the case in these summertime situations. They don't last very long. Upper level spins, I mean, they didn't last more than 10 minutes at most, and by the time I really honed in on them and all that, and was able to hone in and see what those storms were doing, they quickly fell apart. So at least right now, I'm not seeing any indications here of at least as far as damaging winds. As far as a tornado is concerned, but I'm seeing more of what we call the straight line wind gusts and such that could potentially be, severe. So this is something we got to watch here. And I'm still seeing a little bit of hail in here that looks like it's trying to re-intensify as it moves out here towards Brockdale. So Brockdale Road, so Brockdale Mountain area up towards Dill and down to Lusk and Bledsoe there. Got a pretty strong indication here of some hail. Now, it's not large hail, it's not big, it's not damaging, but there's probably, I'd say, up towards penny size, possibly up to, there may be a quarter or two in there, but nothing really, like, extremely damaging, thankfully. But it's heading up here towards Lee Station, Lusk area, and it may head up towards Pikeville if it holds together, but I think a merger is going to take place here pretty soon with this, and that should take away at least the Pikeville area. It should take the Pikeville area at least out of the bigger hail potential with that. So that's some good news there. And we just got another update on this Grundy warning. It expires in 10 minutes. So you got about 10 more minutes up here towards Altamont and Beersheba here and down toward Grutley and Palmer. At least on the warning here, it expires in 10 minutes. But I'm going ahead and giving you the clear, at least from this severe storm, considering the severe part is moved off to your east. All you're getting back in here is just torrential rain and lightning. And let's see what the winds look like up in here. Yeah, they're trying to ramp up a little bit up in here, but so far they're behaving up in here, so that's good. So at least they're staying tame. They're staying below severe levels, and that little wind gust that popped up right there actually went back down as of the last scan, so that's encouraging. And back out here to the west, I'm not seeing any major wind in that back in here. So crossing over Winchester and Decker and up towards Arnold Air Force Base, I'm not seeing any kind of intense wind. I know Cowan's getting a pretty good downpour, and Swanee's about to, but same with Manchester, but nothing severe here. And back out here to the west, we'll have to watch this cluster back out here west of Clarksville up there towards northwest Tennessee, because there's a chance that some of this might try to impact some of our northern counties here closer to I-40 down the road. There's some uncertainty with that. But there has been some model indications here where that may occur, where it may try to turn a little bit and potentially impact at least our northern areas with time. So it's just something, that's another area we're going to have to watch here for later on this evening, especially once we get after sunset. But really right now, these are the storms of concern at the moment. So the areas that are in the orange boxes have the warnings. And we're about to let this one go in Marion, and these Marion Grundy ones are about to expire. So that would leave Bledsoe and far northern Squatchy around Cagle and Brockdale as the only areas that would have a severe thunderstorm, at least at this time. So that's so at least we would only have one warning if all things work out here. But again, this is just the area right now that I'm seeing the potential for the heaviest of storms. And here in eastern Marion County, I'm also not seeing anything really intense anymore out here. Now there is a pretty strong echo here over Whitwell. Might have a little bit of maybe some pea-sized hail in that, but so far I'm not seeing a severe indication at the moment of that, of anything severe, but it's a pretty strong storm. So it's going right up here towards the City Park, Highway 28 Market, up towards Condor Switch Road. That's out here towards a 283 as well, Alvin York Highway. That's going to be the area where this goes over here pretty soon. Now, it could weaken on the next scan, but just giving you a little heads up here, you got a pretty rough storm moving over Red Hill, north side of Whitwell here, so north of downtown, and heading up here towards the park, and heading out towards Condor Switch Road, and it might clip Cartwright, but it looks like Cartwright's going to miss this, at least the worst of this, but again, this northern end up here over the pocket may get up that way down the road, so you got a pretty heavy thunderstorm that's about to move up in that direction here shortly, within the next 5 minutes or so, so get ready for that up there along 28, and also up East Valley Road. Again, Lone Oak and out here towards Walden, extremely heavy downpours about to move in. I'll go ahead and say this is what was a severe storm that does not really show any major strong wind indicators. I mean, this is a pretty strong wind gust right here, but thankfully it's below severe limits, at least at this time. But again, it could strengthen again. So heads up here along Mowbray. So Mowbray Mountain, Flat Top Mountain, out here towards the North Chickamauga Creek Gorge. This is going to be the area that will be next up to see this strong storm activity. We now have another severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued for Bradley County, so that's new. Let's see what we got here. This is for quarter-size hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Now, I do want to note something on this one that I'm watching. Let's look on velocity here. See this red and green trying to meet up right here? There is in this cell in the just south of Cleveland here, there is a little bit of weak rotation that I'm watching here. And I'll show you what that looks like on reflectivity. See where it's hooking right here? So there is a little bit of weak rotation. It's not a major thing, but what we have to watch for and see here, especially considering the environment that's in place today, we got to see if this thing actually really hooks around like this. If it really starts to come around like this, we might get a tornado out of it. But at the moment, no tornado warning, no imminent tornado threat, but we just got to watch this, because when you start seeing this little kind of C shape right here, what we call hook, right in here, sometimes you get a tornado out of that, and I am seeing some signs, at least in the upper levels, of some weak rotation. So areas on the south side of Cleveland, Tennessee, down here towards Wildwood Lake, and eventually out here towards Ocoee. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for you for the next hour here, right up until about, let's see what time they start saying here about, let me read that information here. That goes in effect until 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So right up until 6:30 Eastern Time is when this goes in effect here. So western Polk County, far eastern Hamilton County, and the southern half of Bradley County. Now, this does not include Charleston. This does not include the Hopewell area, but this does include Cleveland. So Cleveland and Ocoee, you're in this. Same with Collegedale and Appleton. Now, I will say this, Collegedale and Appleton, the worst is east of you from this, but this is mainly a Bradley County issue, at least at the moment. There's the bypass there on the south side of Cleveland. There's 6474 that runs east of downtown. That's Inman Street in downtown. So from Inman Street and south, that's going to be the zone where this severe thunderstorm will cross, with the potential of some hail and some gusty winds, and who knows, even the possibility. I will not rule out the chance of a small little spin-up tornado here. And again, it cannot be ruled out. I mean, I cannot rule out totally with any storm tonight that it could produce a brief spin-up. But right now in these western areas right now, so Grundy and up towards Squatchy and Bledsoe, I'm not seeing any signs up in here of imminent concern. And even down here towards Cleveland, though there's a little bit of a hook there, at least right now it's weak. And let's hope it stays that way. As long as it stays weak, we won't have an issue with that. But if it were to intensify, that's a different story. So let's just make sure everybody's aware and alert in all these areas that I'm mentioning here. I'm also sharing this also to, so make sure you continue to share this live if you're still watching as well, so that we get as many eyeballs as possible. Someone said here, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts in Mont Eagle at 3:49. It was terrible in Pelham. Palmer got a lot of wind and rain. Again, I'm just reading off some of the reports here. Thunder in Red Bank. ETA, so let me get you some times of arrival here. I've forgotten to do that. Let me make sure I do that here. Like I said, there's a lot of warnings that have been coming out over the last little bit, so let me make sure I do this. So let's put a time frame first up here to the north, so I'll go north to south. And again, that's moving northeast in Bledsoe County. That cell's moving off to the north and east at 40. So that storm, the heaviest part of that storm will be in Old Cumberland at 4:46. Again, these times are in Central Time, so add an hour in the Eastern Time Zone. Brockdale around 4:48, Pikeville around 5 o'clock. and also Summer City and out towards the New Harmony area around 506. So let's get down here to the south and track, thankfully, a weakening storm, but out here towards Saudi and other areas here. I got a request here for an ETA there, so let me get the speed update there. That's also moving east that's actually moving east at 30. So let's track that. And Saudi, this will be near you around 6 o'clock Eastern. I know this time is in Central Time, but that's 6 o'clock your time. So around 6 o'clock in the Saudi area. And also Lakeside, this will be in your area also just at about 5 to 10 minutes after that. I know Lakeside's not showing up on here, but basically around 5:05, 5:15 in Lakeside, and around 5 o'clock in Saudi. And then down here to the south and east, towards the south side of Cleveland here, let's track this. Thankfully, that signature is actually weakened as of the last scan, so I'm no longer seeing any major indications of any kind of weak rotation. Thankfully, that is really weakened over the last little bit. Hopefully, it stays that way. Fingers crossed. This one's moving a little slower here. It's moving east at 20. So we'll track this all the way out here towards Ocoee and Benton. They're at 20. So Waterville, they're around 5:50. Again, add an hour to these times in the Eastern time zone. So 5:51 Wildwood Lake, Ocoee around 6:15, 6:25 Parksville. Again, this is Polk County. And Benton around 6:28. So those are some times on those storms. And again, Chattanooga Metro here, we're nearing the end of rush hour, but there's still probably a lot of people out there traveling. So let's get one on this. This is also moving east at about 30. Get a time frame on this heavy cell. Ruby Falls, they're around 5:46. Downtown around 5:57. So this heavy downpour is gonna be in downtown Chattanooga within the next 10 minutes. So get ready there. Woodmore area around Brainerd there around 6 o'clock. In the Radmore area, they're around 6:04. And this is also going to head out towards the airport. So heading out towards Hamilton Place and all those areas. And the good news is we no longer have the warning for Marion County. So if you're in Marion and Grundy counties, you no longer have a severe thunderstorm warning. So if you're in those areas, you don't have a severe thunderstorm warning. And I know Squatchy and Bledsoe are in severe thunderstorm warnings, but if you're in Dunlap and up towards Pikeville, at the moment you do not have a warning. These are just heavy, non-severe storms here to the south of these warning areas. And the heaviest part of this cell that's moving up towards the Palo area and up towards Lusk does have the potential for some small hail. There's Old State Highway 28. That's 127 that goes up through there. That's Pope Road, Penny Lane. Also out here towards Howard, Beavert Road. And this is also heading out towards Brockdale Road as well. This is going to be the zone where this heaviest part of this storm is crossing up. So there's Highway 127 that runs through there. And this is passing it's actually about to move right over the Cookie Jar area. So Cookie Jar is about to be impacted by some heavy thunderstorms here pretty shortly. And this is going to head out here towards the Overlook too. So the Overlook's about to be involved in this. So this heavy storm that's over Dunlap's about to move over that area, and eventually it's going to cross Lewis Chapel that's up in here, so Lewis Chapel Road. Hendon area, Bledsoe County, get ready. You got some heavy storms moving your way. And also Flat Top Mountain down to Mowbray. So Mowbray area, get ready. And like I said, Dunlap's getting hammered right now with some very intense thunder lightning, and so is downtown Chattanooga. I mean, downtown Chattanooga is just getting in on this activity right now, at least on the non-severe stuff, but a very intense downpour there. Here's the severe storm in Bradley County. Here's our other severe storm. There's also one up here towards Tasso that's heading up to the south side of Charleston, but currently that's been declared non-severe. The severe part that's being warned on here is to the south and east of McDonald, and get ready to cross over State Route 60. That's the road right there that runs between Cleveland and Dalton. And this is going to stay on the Bradley County side. So that's going to go east from there, head out here towards Ocoee. So heads up out here towards the lake, and they're along the Ocoee. Hopefully no one's out. If anyone's out, get them inside a car, get them inside something, because that is to protect themselves from the lightning. We don't need anybody out there in this lightning. I mean, whether the storm is severe or not, I mean, the lightning is just as intense. So gotta keep people protected here from this lightning. And up here towards Manchester, Summitville area, very intense thunderstorms here. Let's check and see if we got anything intense on the wind mode. Getting some bright reds in here that does indicate gusty wind, probably 30 to 40 miles an hour, but currently these are non-severe at the moment. This is heading out here towards Altamont and Beersheba, so This is moving east from there. Now, this will probably, I can imagine, I do believe this does appear to be trying to lift a little bit east-northeast. So there's a chance that this may impact parts of Morrison and potentially the south side of McMinnville as well. So it's going to probably, this northern end of this storm is probably going to go into areas where that's not had as much activity so far. So around Irving College and Viola, possibly Morrison, south side of McMinnville. This mess that's down here to the south and west is likely going to move something like this and move through parts of your area, if not over there. And Spencer, I would get ready for more heavy rain and thunderstorm activity, too, especially on the south side of town out here towards Fall Creek Falls. I would definitely get ready for some more heavy rain and thunderstorm activity. But at the moment, I'm not seeing anything big there. Some other heavy thunderstorms moving over Arab and Marshall County, moving towards Guntersville Lake. We also got a pretty strong storm over Chattooga County, so Somerville area, down towards Lyerly. And then right over the Macklemore Resort area of right there along the Dade and Walker County line, moving to the east towards Cooper Heights. Heavy thunderstorm there. That's heading out towards Rock Spring. Currently non-severe there, but areas between Lafayette and Chickamauga near Rock Spring into Cooper Heights, you got a strong storm moving in. Also, another downpour's popped up over Whitwell, but that's currently non-severe. Lightning, thankfully, is actually decreased on the southern cell that's moving over the city of Chattanooga right now, so the North Shore is getting hammered right now. So there's North Chat, there's Tiftonia, there's Cummings Highway, Browns Ferry. I mean, this is just a torrential downpour. I mean, coming right over. So if you know somebody that's out and about right now, make sure that they are, they're taking it slow. Just make sure if you're in these areas where heavy rain is falling, just make sure you take it slow out there. Take your time, because this is just a torrential downpour. These are torrential summer downpours, is the best way I can describe it. And hopefully it doesn't go beyond that. But right now, that's what I'm seeing this as, is just those typical summer downpours right now. So Erlanger's about to get in on this pretty soon. Same with Memorial. Out here towards the cemetery. Downtown's in the heart of this. So, and then it's going to cross over the ridge out there by Dodds and Brainerd Road, and it's going to head out towards the airport and eventually Brainerd Road and out towards Hamilton Place down the road. So again, this is a non-severe storm over the city, but this is going to be a pretty heavy storm that moves from west to east across southern Hamilton County and heads out here eventually back towards Ooltewah and Collegedale. So you already had a thunderstorm to your east, but you got more that are approaching from the west. So that's just something that we got to make sure to watch carefully here as this moves from west to east. And back up here to the north, again, the worst of this is east of downtown Dunlap now. So this is moving right over the Overlook area, so pretty close to where, so there's the East Valley Road exit. There's 127. That's the area where this heavy thunderstorm is moving over, and it's heading right up Walden's Ridge right now. So heading right up the mountain here towards Lewis Chapel and up towards Hendon. There's Flat Top Mountain right here to the southeast corner of the screen. And I do have the community, and I know, unfortunately, because of Facebook and some things, some of the roads and maybe some of the communities may be a little hard to see. Unfortunately, that's something I can't control, but I have edited, so kind of adjusted the map here to where the cities will pop up a little bit bigger, and hopefully you guys can be able to see that a little bit better. And so far, it looks like it's worked, but yeah, just let me know if down the road here if I need to maybe increase the size a little bit more, and just let me know from there, because I know sometimes it's, especially when this is broadcast from the computer, it can make things a little bit difficult to see because it has the screen so wide. So again, like I said, that's not my issue. That's kind of a Facebook issue. But nonetheless, though, we still got this warning that remains in effect for another 8 minutes. But the worst of this, I do believe, is south of the warning area. So really, I don't think this warning is probably no longer, I don't think it's needed for this northern side. So up here towards Brockdale Mountain, I'm not seeing anything there. I see the heaviest being south of there, so it's kind of shifted a little bit. Very torrential rain, yes, but as far as like the wind, like when you combine the wind and rain here, the heaviest is up here on the northeast side of Dunlap and heading up towards Palo and along East Valley Road and 127 as you move up into Bledsoe County. Excuse me. And then up here towards New Harmony, and eventually out here towards Graysville. You guys will be next in line to see some torrential thunderstorms, and also Sail Creek, Bakewell area. You guys are next in line too. And again, this is all moving off from west to east. And this is all moving roughly at about 30 miles an hour on average. And we still got this one, and really the primary severe storm really at the moment is this one in South Cleveland. So southern Cleveland's getting the brunt of this right now. So there's some hail potential around Bennett Acres, Williamsburg Estates. There's State Route 74. Nantahala Estates, Pumpkin Center. This is where the Walmart and all that is on the south side of Cleveland. So Aldi. And out here towards Spring Place Road. Also Durkee Road, Bates Pike, Cleveland Quarry. This is the area where the heaviest activity is, and this is heading out towards Ocoee Hills in the Ocoee area. There's 411, so you're crossing from Bradley into Polk County after that, and there's Parksville. So this is where Camp Ocoee and all that is. So if you know anybody out there on Ocoee Lake, if there's somebody out there you know, make sure they are aware and they are inside something, a vehicle, whatever that may be, and ride out this thunderstorm, because you're better off in a vehicle than out in the elements in this. You don't want to get struck by lightning. So it's just a friendly reminder for anybody that's outdoors out here. You know, just make sure that you're inside something here until this passes. And the bad thing is also there's another storm to the west here that you got to watch out for too. That's over Chattanooga. That's also heading your way down the road. Now checking on this little cell here that's moving into Grundy County. It's just a heavy downpour. Probably a rumble or two, but that one's non-severe. I tell you, this right in here is really getting messy right here. I mean, this is just a big mess right here. Between Manchester, New Union, up towards Summitville, Viola, this is just torrential rain. I mean, when you get this dark red and pink, that just tells you the intensity of everything. And what I'll do actually here's the 1 hour rainfall. And you can see the areas that have been impacted most. You see northwestern Grundy County, see anywhere from 1 to 2 inches. Amounts really piling up also up here towards Bledsoe and northern Sequatchie counties. Marion County's had quite a bit, around an inch, according to Doppler radar. And Bradley County's also seen about 1 inch to 1.5 inches so far, too. So I tell you, these things really pile up. I mean, these amounts really pile up when they move over. So I wouldn't be surprised up in here, from Manchester up to Viola, there's probably going to be some additional 1 to 2 inch amounts in those areas, I'd imagine, here pretty soon. So they just updated this warning here, so let's see what we got on this information on this northern warning. As I said, though, the worst of this is out of the warned area, so I do believe that this is probably going to be let go right at its expiration time. So let me read that here to you. This is the new update, and it will expire at 5 o'clock. So as I just said, this is the update that just said, it says the storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits and has exited the warned area. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire at regular time, so at 5 o'clock. However, gusty winds are still possible with this thunderstorm. So just got some confirmation here that, at least at this time, there won't be an extension of this warning. So that's good news for those of you in Ray County and the rest of Bledsoe County and northern Hamilton. But you will still have the risk for some gusty winds, torrential rain, and frequent lightning as this moves off to the east. And I'll double check wind mode just to make sure these are not really strengthening. And so far, no. The strongest wind gust I'm seeing in here is about 50. So there could be some 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts, which do technically challenge severe levels, but they're below that. So as long as we keep those below severe levels, at least as far as the wind gust is concerned, we won't have to worry about any major tree damage. So really right now, as of 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern, this one in Bradley County is the only area that has a severe thunderstorm as of this minute. And this warning expires again in about 30 minutes. You know, I do have a feeling it will probably be let go a little bit sooner because it's probably going to get out of that area probably a little sooner. So, yeah, so this is moving east towards Ocoee. And it may also impact the Benton area. It looks like this may actually pass just south of Benton. But Benton and Ballplay are close enough to watch this carefully. But areas along 411 and along 64 and 74 in there, you do have the potential for some strong winds. Now, I've not heard if any watches are going to be issued locally. I did see something in there that shows that there is like a slight chance, like a 30 or 40% chance that we might be included in a severe thunderstorm watch. But the Storm Prediction Center said that it would depend on how things evolve really here this evening. And so far, I've not seen indications of any watch issuance. Now, I am getting a storm report here out of Grundy County just now, actually as of the last hour, from amateur radio. Tree fallen on road at the intersection of Baker Road and Melton Road. Now, I'm not sure if that's been cleared or not yet, but at this, it says here, according to amateur radio, tree fallen on road at the intersection of Baker Road and Melton Road. So, and unfortunately, it looks like this southern storm has intensified, so they now have issued a new severe thunderstorm warning until 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for those of you in Bledsoe, far eastern Squatchy, not Dunlap, but basically Flat Top, north and east. It includes Sale Creek, Graysville, and Dayton. So let me get you that information on this warning. This is a new warning, so if you're watching from those areas, please be sure to share this and spread the word here because we got another warning here. So let me pull that up here. It takes me just a second. Here we go. So at 5:57 p.m. Eastern, a severe thunderstorm was located 8 miles northeast of Dunlap, so right here. And it's moving off to the north and east at 20 miles an hour. I'll get you a storm track on that in a second. Source is radar indicated. Impact expected damage to roof, siding, and trees. Locations that are in the path of this include Dayton, Pikeville, Graysville, Sale Creek, Palo, Brayton, Big Spring, and Flat Top Mountain. So these are the areas involved in this orange box you see. So from Pikeville south to Sale Creek, east to Dayton, down to Graysville and Flat Top Mountain, and up towards New Harmony and Summer City. These are the areas that are involved in this new warning that goes in effect for the next hour. So this is going to go in effect through 5. That's going to go in effect through 7 o'clock Eastern at 6 o'clock Central Time. So heads up there. And we also got another storm that may turn severe shortly between Evansville and Old Washington there, north and east of Bryan College. So that's going to head up here towards Watts Bar. So there may be another severe storm that may have to be issued too to the north and east because that way that's intensifying. Other intensifying storms are over Charleston and heading up towards Etowah. So more strong storms moving into McMinn County. And let's see how this looks on velocity here. See if we got any kind of spin. Thankfully, no. But I'm seeing some very strong winds that prompted this warning. Again, when you have a severe thunderstorm, that typically means you do have that potential for seeing up to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Now, not everybody gets the 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. That's why I usually say the range is 50 to 60. Because it will vary, but there's that potential that some pockets in there, some isolated pockets in there, could see a gust get upwards of 60 miles an hour within that thunderstorm. So really, the general rule is 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts heading towards a Graysville, Sale Creek, and Dayton. Now, this warning does not include Chattanooga. It does not include Saudi. It does not include Red Bank or Ooltewah or Collegedale. This is well north of you. And this will not affect you. You got a heavy storm to the south here, but that's not the part that's being warned on for severe weather. The severe storm is up by Flat Top Mountain and heading up towards Dayton, that in Sale Creek. That's where that severe storm's going. And then we still got this other activity out here to the west. I mean, Spencer's now starting to light up here with some heavy thunderstorms too. So Van Buren really starting to light up, I should say. So right over Fall Creek Falls, you got a very heavy thunderstorm moving overhead. And the lightning, unfortunately, is intensifying out here to the west from Summitville up towards Morrison, Viola, Irving College, and Spring Creek there north of Beersheba. So that's a sign that this storm is also starting to show signs of intensification. Again, wind gusts are kind of increasing too, and that right there could either be a downburst or maybe even a microburst right here moving between Summitville and Viola. So that could be some very strong winds there. So that looks like a pretty strong downburst for sure, and I wouldn't rule out, considering the way the reds and greens are blowing right there, that could also be a small microburst, so we got to watch that carefully too. But out here to the east, this is mostly one color, but you see how bright these reds are here, moving up into northern Hamilton County, southeastern Bledsoe, and the southern Ray County. That's where the strongest indication of 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts are. And here's a heads up here for those that are traveling along 27 here. So anywhere between the 111 split there in Saudi all the way up to Evansville, so close to Ray County High School, that's going to be the zone where this really heavy wind and heavy rain is going over the next little bit. So Bryan College is in this warning as well. Same with New Harmony, Liberty Hill, Lee Station, Lusk, Palo, Brayton, Smithtown, Hendon. So basically, I'm calling as many communities as I can. So Possum Creek Resource Management Area, Hodgetown, Coulterville, Bakewell, Sale Creek, Lakewood, Big Spring. This also includes Meigs. I forgot to mention Meigs is also in this. So if you're in Meigs County, you're also involved in this warning, except for Decatur. Now, Decatur, you're not in the warning yet, but Big Spring is. So Big Spring, you are in the warning. Not quite Decatur, but this is heading your way. So if this storm continues to be strong, it might intensify enough to where you might need a warning for your area here down the road. So heads up in those areas. You do have that potential of seeing some strong winds, and you may get another warning here down the road if this storm were to hold together. So heads up here, far northern Hamilton County, specifically Sale Creek area, down to Flat Top Mountain, southeastern Bledsoe County, so around Brayton, Summer City, New Harmony, down to Hendon, and out in the southwestern end of Ray County, that would be Evansville, Dayton, Bryan College, Graysville area. Those are the areas right now that do have the risk for strong to severe storms. And I do want to touch on this other one too. I don't want to forget about southeastern Bradley County, but you got another warning here. So right along State Route 74, Cedar Spring, Sugar Grove, Pumpkin Center, Keith Valley Road. There's State Route 313, so Nantahala Estates, Old Fort. As we move over here into Polk County out of Bradley, that's going to be this area that has the potential for some really strong winds, and also the potential for some hail in this thunderstorm too. And there's also seeing some other reports of trees down too to the west as well. So again, just a lot of strong thunderstorms moving through the region at this time here, which is why I'm live here, because we still got all these warnings that are in effect here. And at the same time, I'm also making sure as best as possible that I'm keeping the other feed updated too. So as far as like the posting feeds are concerned, because I know not everybody can see the lives, but I'm also providing a link to that, and I also am broadcasting this on YouTube as well. So I am on YouTube at Chase B Weather. You can also watch on there. It's going to be a different format on there because I'm using Restream for the YouTube portion, but I did work out something to the point where I could be able to do both simultaneously here hopefully without any audio or anything issues or anything like that. But I did check it a little bit about right at the beginning when I went on here behind the scenes, and thankfully, at least on my end, the audio is pretty good at the moment. So some good news there. I figured I would share. But again, the main severe areas right now: southeast of Cleveland, moving towards Ocoee, Sale Creek, south of Pikeville, moving towards Graysville and Dayton. And we got this line that's developing here. It's starting to set up, basically from the Chattanooga Airport and all the way down through Fort O, Chickamauga area, Lafayette, and down here south of Somerville. Some pretty strong indications there of some gusty thunderstorms at this time. And let me see here. I'm also getting a video here, see what this is about. Just some, looks like some clouds there. So yeah, nothing I'm seeing there. Also another pretty strong storm also in Marshall County there near Guntersville and Albertville, but thankfully so far that's non-severe. And this one out here between Etowah and Tellico is currently non-severe too, so that's some good news. So these areas to the east are non-severe, while these down here to the west, southeast Bradley County, and down here towards Sale Creek and up to Dayton and points in between. But areas back here towards Tullahoma, you got a heavy downpour there, heavy thunderstorm there, but that's non-severe. Colmont, Tracy, some rain, but nothing big there. Very heavy thunderstorm moving into Warren County. This is now pretty much exclusively in Warren County. They're around Morrison to Viola, down through Irving College. Some pretty intense lightning, some torrential rain there, but so far non-severe. Same can be said in Van Buren County and out towards the Mount Crest area of Bledsoe. Right around Fall Creek Falls, torrential rain, so State Route 30, 285, 111, Spencer. Torrential downpours and gusty winds here, as well as lightning. Indian Rock Lake, Crossville, heavy rain there, non-severe. Some rain and thunder around Cookville, but non-severe. And let's check on the velocity on this first severe thunderstorm warning here, and then we'll check Bradley. Well, that intensified right there. Let's see what that shows. Wow, that's a 65 mile an hour wind gust. That's above the 60 right there. So that tells you some very strong. It's a Leggett Road. So this is right around Leggett Road in the Sale Creek area. I'm seeing that indication of some very strong winds. Also, a Graysville area. Some very strong winds are approaching you. So north of this north side of Sail Creek, heads up. This is also going to be close to a Doherty Ferry Road, Rock Creek Road, a Detour Road. Up here towards, there's the Sail Creek itself. Also, Coulterville Road. You're in line for this. This is a heavy wind. McDonald Cemetery. And also up here, let me make sure I'm getting this. Also, here we go into the city grid here. Pikeville Avenue there. This is Graysville. Graysville Church. Hughes Street. Burnett Street. Those are the areas involved in this. And here's State Route 60 that comes out of Dayton right here. So between Birchwood and Dayton is where this heavy area wind's about to cross. So what I'm going to do here is, before I forget on accident here, I'm going to put a storm track on this. This is moving northeast at 20. And we'll track this actually up here close to Decatur, so that way you folks up there get a heads up, even though you're technically not in the warning yet. So there's Coulterville there right now, 6:09. Again, I know it says 5:09, but this is in Central Time, so add an hour to the times here. Edgewater there at 5:33. Old Washington there at 5:51. Excuse me, that's 6:51. So 6:33 there in Edgewater, 6:51 in Old Washington. Calico there around 7 o'clock. Decatur around 7:07. Now, you'll already have a strong storm that's about to move in there now, but from the heaviest part of this back here near Sail Creek, it'll arrive up in your area, in the Decatur area, roughly around 7 o'clock. So heads up here in central Meigs County and up towards the 10-mile area. This is heading your way into Athens. I know I got some viewers up in Athens here. If you're watching me from Athens, you do have the potential for some strong to severe storms that'll move in that area between roughly 7 and 8 o'clock. So heads up in that area. Now, it could pull north and miss you, but it could also turn right and affect you here down the road. So, again, right now, if you're in Sequatchie County, Grundy County, Marion County, and out here towards Jackson and Franklin, and out here towards Moore, and out here towards Lincoln County, and even Coffee County, you guys are good for right now. So it's really these eastern areas, especially north and east of Chattanooga here, that have the warnings at this time. And remember, I cover a pretty wide zone here, and I got a lot of viewers that live in these areas. So as long as we got these warnings in effect here, I'm going to stay on for these folks. But I'm also seeing some hail here approaching Old Fort and Highway 411 there towards the Ocoee area. So get ready for some hail there, and also some gusty winds. Now, it's not large hail, but as I said, it'll be a little noisy. So here on the south side of Ocoee, heading towards the lake and all that out in there, and if that's holds together, that may head out towards Big Frog Mountain and out towards Ducktown down the road. And we're still watching this heavy little area of showers and thunderstorms here, extending from southeastern Hamilton County, so Harrison, East Brainerd, down through Fordo and Ringgold, Chickamauga, Rock Spring, Lafayette, moving east towards Whitfield County, but that currently isn't severe. And in a strong storm that's leaving Chattooga County, heading into Floyd County towards Rome, as a advisory on it. That's what that blue box is. That's an advisory. I call it a strong storm advisory. It's a special weather statement, but I like to call it a strong storm advisory. That's in effect down there towards Rome, and that goes in effect for that area for the next 35 minutes. So pretty heavy storm heading outside of the area, at least away from us. But here's the other severe storm. And let me get back over here to Max 1 here. And you see very strong indications of damaging wind here. When you see the bright reds and these little whites you see right here, not the road names, but the other white colors you see, that's the strongest indication of 50 to 60 mile an hour wind. So it's moving right over the north side of Sail Creek, right near Leggett Road, and then up towards Graysville, 5 Points, and eventually the Dayton area, and also Big Spring. And may also clip Birchwood. I mean, Birchwood is close enough to be kind of considered in this warning here. So if you're in the Birchwood area, this is definitely your heads up here to where you need to stay alert, because you do have that potential for strong, severe storms moving into that area, or at least clipping you to the north. Like I said, it's going to be a close call there. But at the moment, though, I'm not seeing any other indications of any kind of rotation or anything else at this time. So that's some good news I can give you there. Again, let's see. Whitwell Mountain, you guys are good. Cagle Mountain, as far as the severe stuff, I'm also reading comments here. So far, I'm not seeing anything developing out here farther west. So for those that are not in the severe storms, even though the severe storms have passed you off to the east up there towards Cagle Mountain, I'm not seeing anything back here to the west that looks concerning. I mean, it's actually clear out in here. I'll have to check latest model data here and see if that other round of storms is going to affect us after sunset or not. See if things have changed with that. Because considering the situation here, it's very fluid and very dynamic here, so a lot can change. But I'll have to check in a few minutes. But right now, at least at the time, I'm not seeing anything back here to the west that looks any more concerning for areas that have just went through that severe thunderstorm. So, Cagle Mountain, you're good for right now. You just got some rain in the area. The heaviest is off to your north and east. Tracy City, same thing there. Worst is off to your north and east. McMinnville, yeah, you're getting a pretty heavy storm there on the south side of town. That's actually trying to lift more north, kind of east-northeast, but you're getting a pretty heavy storm. But thankfully, though, it is non-severe. It's been classified as non-severe, and I'll check wind here real quick. Yeah, seeing some pockets here, some strong wind, but not seeing anything severe. I mean, this is mostly 30, maybe 30 to 40 mile-an-hour gusts at most. But again, that's non-severe. So as long as we keep it in that low range, then this is just a normal June thunderstorm. It's just a heavy one. Just a lot of torrential downpours, a lot of lightning with this. So let me actually real quick here behind the scenes here. I'm gonna keep it on radar here on this end on the computer side. What I'm gonna do here real quick and see, and I'll be able to tell you firsthand if we got another round coming. It does appear after sunset here. Now, just looking at the latest HRRR model run, which the HRRR model, that's the high resolution rapid refresh, is typically the most reliable in this kind of situation because it is able to adjust every hour to conditions. It does show some of this up in here. That's west of Nashville. Some of this trying to change course and move a little bit more southeast with time, and possibly more development south and west that may move through the area here after sunset. So really after 8 o'clock, really, that's when there could be another round of thunderstorms. Now, they should, considering the rain cool air we got over here, they should weaken. If they develop, and that's a big if they do develop, they should weaken as they move in. But I cannot rule out a spare warning or two. I mean, there could still be a severe thunderstorm warning or two that gets issued, but I do think if one is issued, it'd be pretty isolated. It would probably be for our westernmost communities. So really basically west of the Squatchy Valley, which runs about right here. So from Pikeville, Dunlap, Jasper, Stevenson, put a line from there and west. That's where the model guidance is showing the possibility of a few additional strong storms. So really west of Chattanooga really is a better reference point. Would be the better chance for that. But even to the east, I still would not let my guard down here. I mean, it will help. I do believe it will help us some that we're going to lose that daytime heating here after sunset. We've already lost some of it because of the storms, but we'll probably lose a little more of it after sunset as it turns dark. So hopefully we can get some help with that. And if any storms develop to the west, hopefully they'll stay tame and they'll stay severe and kind of, scattered around, at least not too widespread. But it looks like things do, clear out, especially as we get after midnight, things will clear out. And then Saturday, what we'll have to watch out on Saturday is, especially in the afternoon and evening, there may be another complex of storms that moves through. I'll have more on that a little bit later. But there will be another potential complex that may move through and provide another risk for strong to severe storms, especially the further south you go. I mean, all areas are in the level 2 risk, but there's also a level 3 risk that's out from basically south of Fort Payne and down towards Birmingham. So that'll be where the higher severe threat is, but up here it's still a level 2, kind of like today. So we'll still have to watch it very carefully up here for tomorrow, especially in the afternoon and evening. So again, as I said, we're not done with any storm threats, and unfortunately we got another storm threat on Sunday. So we're really in this unsettled pattern through at least the next few days, where we're going to have multiple chances and opportunities for these scattered showers and thunderstorms that could turn strong in some areas. And Sunday's severe risk is marginal as of tonight. So as of tonight, Sunday's risk is marginal. Tomorrow's risk is level 2. That's slight, like today, with an enhanced risk kind of in the far southern communities, basically Albertville, Fort Payne, and south. And then Sunday is marginal. So that's the way I'm seeing it at this time as far as the severe risks are concerned for the weekend. But as I said, we still got that risk for more thunderstorms to move through the region here. over the next few hours here. So again, the storm threat for tomorrow again will be mainly for the afternoon and evening. Now I'm not saying 100% is going to storm in your area, but what I'm saying is there's that chance, and there's going to be another opportunity for more showers and thunderstorms during the afternoon and evening hours of our Saturday. And a few of those again could challenge strong to severe levels. And again, I'll have another, once these warnings expire here, I'll be able to get off here and do some analysis here and get you a full update on that here sometime later on this evening. But as I said, though, at this moment, the only warnings we have at this time are in Bradley County, western Polk County, and up here towards Dayton. I mean, Dayton and Graysville, y'all are getting some very intense rain right now. Probably some gusty winds in Decatur. This is heading your way, too. So heads up in Decatur. You do have that risk for some strong to severe storms up there, too, to be aware of. So I'm also checking my YouTube side here real quick. Let me check and see if I got anything there. I'm not seeing anything there, but that did get good enough there. But right now, what I'm seeing too, let's see if I missed anything else in the comments. Okay, what about Whitwell Mountain? This is all to your east now. So, and they just shortened this warning here for Bradley and Polk. So now the worst of it is to the east of Cleveland now. So Old Fort, Ocoee down to Ball Play. This is the zone that has the severe thunderstorm that's still in effect for about another 10 minutes. So in 10 minutes, this will be allowed to expire from this storm. But you got another very intense storm that's out towards the Ringgold area and up towards East Brainerd, Collegedale, Ooltewah, and Appleton. That'll be moving in there fairly shortly. And then up here towards Dayton, again, very intense rain, perhaps some gusty wind. Let's check the wind mode on this. As I said, pretty strong. Not seeing any. Yeah, that's a 57. So yeah, that's pretty close to severe levels. That's just barely below, but that's enough right there. There's a 58 right there. So yeah, that's still a severe storm there, moving right over the 5 Points area there, just south of Dayton, downtown at least. And that's moving to the east, just south of Bryan College, and that's heading towards Decatur. So heads up out here in Meigs County. So along 58, along Highway 30, close to Watts Bar, up here towards Watts Bar. That's where this is going next. And you can kind of see the bow on this too, just on the velocity. You can see how this thing is really bowed out. I mean, it's a very impressive bow structure right here. And when you see it bow like this, that's the indication, the classic indication of damaging straight line winds that's moving in that direction. So basically from west to east here, kind of east-northeast. So again, this will eventually impact areas from Athens and points north towards Nyota and also Sweetwater. So I'm highlighting the areas that are next in line. And that warning just updated there. So 10 Mile up here at the very top of the screen where the banner is. Decatur, you're next up. Nyota, you're next up. Same with Athens and Sweetwater. So I-75 is right here, so I'll highlight I-75 and Highway 58 as well. These are the areas right here that I've underlined that have, within the next hour, within the next 30 minutes to an hour, have the potential for severe storms in this zone right here. So across Ray, Meigs, and McMinn counties of Tennessee. Now checking on you folks up here towards that are watching from McMinnville and Spencer, I'm not seeing anything severe up in here. Just some heavy lightning, heavy rain, gusty wind, but again, nothing severe at this time, so that's good. And that's moving from west to east. And let me see if we got any new update on the rain totals here. And that's not really accurate right there, but here we go. Yeah, this is within the last hour, and this is shown 1 to 2 inches here on the southeast side of Spencer towards Fall Creek Falls, and here's that corridor there across northern Sequatchie into Bledsoe County, 1 to 2 inches. And even again seeing that same thing up here towards Irving College and also on the north side of Altamont too. So these are the areas that have seen the most rain so far, at least within the last hour. But so far, that's been about it. And as I said, right now, I don't see anything else out here, at least at the moment, as of this live video here, as of 5:22 Central. I'm not seeing any indications of any more additional strong storm activity at the moment. All we got right now is this locally. This up here towards Nashville is likely going to pull north and stay north of us. This part will, but models are indicating a possibility here down the road of future development somewhere right in here. And that may move east in our direction here after sunset. But again, that remains to be seen. Tellico's getting a pretty rough, heavy downpour right now, but non-severe. Riceville, same thing. Etowah's also getting some rough weather currently, or about to, pretty soon. Athens getting ready for some heavy downpours and lightning moving your way shortly. And this heavy, severe storm here is almost on the Decatur area. I mean, not quite there just yet, but it's almost there. And it does appear on that last scan of velocity, it does appear that this is weakened at least slightly, so that's some good news. That's a 53-mile-an-hour wind gust there south of Dayton, moving there across Highway 60, heading up towards the airport area. So that's heading up here towards, there's Kyle Subdivision, there's Decatur, there's Highway 58 right there, Highway 30, there's Bradenton, Old Washington. This is the area that's next in line, south of Evansville there. And if you're back here to the west of this, if you're out here towards Bledsoe County and Sequatchie and Marion and points west, even Hamilton, down into most of Walker and Dade and northeast Alabama and the rest of in southeastern Middle Tennessee, you guys are good for now, from at least the severe threat portion at the moment. So good news there. So if you're in Winchester, you're good. Fayetteville, you're good. Tullahoma, you're good. Manchester, you're good. And even though you got heavy storms in McMinnville, you're good too, at least from the severe portion. You're just getting general rain and thunder up there. Just some heavy downpours and frequent lightning. And the worst of this storm is now passing east of 27. So this is actually moving east of Graysville now. This is moving southeast of the center of downtown Dayton. And it's now heading east towards Decatur. And let's check some of these winds here, see if we got an update there. There's a 54, 53. So just barely below the severe criteria, but still some pretty strong winds. So that's still enough. We still got the warning for about another 20 minutes here, so it'll be interesting to see if this gets extended out here towards Athens and possibly Sweetwater, which it could. But at the moment here, I'm not seeing evidence of any other concern at the moment. It does appear that storm is at least trying to weaken a little bit, and that's a positive sign there. And we still got this one warning down here, really mostly for Polk County. I know Bradley's still technically in this east of Cleveland, but the southwest end of Bradley County, not Bradley, but the southwest end of Polk County is really the only area that has the main concern right now for wind and hail. And then there's Riceville getting hammered pretty good with some torrential rain, and this all you see in here. So if you're watching from Whitwell or towards Dunlap, the rain in here is just green and yellow. That means light to moderate rain, so that's nothing to worry about there. More heavy thunderstorms exist down in southern Marshall County, heading towards Albertville and Boaz. That's heading out towards Collinsville, so that may clip the Fort Payne area, but it looks like it's going to stay south of Fort Payne. And then back out here, let's get back here to the north. Crossville, you got some very heavy rain right now, but nothing severe at the moment. Sparta, nothing big there, just some thunder and rain. Spencer, it's a little heavier, but same thing as Sparta, just some thunder and rain. Maybe a little bit of gusty wind in the southern end of the county, but nothing really jumping out to me about that, at least at the moment. And then here's the new scan on this. Again, Evansville's still getting hit pretty hard here in Ray County, where the severe storm is, right around Sunnyview Lane and out towards White Flats Road and Henderson Road and out towards State Route 30, State Route 302. There's the Calico area. There's Decatur Hills. That's River Road. Piggly Wiggly there in Decatur, Highway 58. That's going to be next in line for this. And the storm is going to get there a little bit sooner than originally projected here. So it looks like that's going to get to you probably before 7, just before 7 in Decatur. So you got this storm that's on the north side of town, but this main part that I tracked earlier, this part that's been warned severe, will move into there probably about 10 to 20 minutes sooner. So again, sometimes that's just the way these storms work here sometimes. What will happen is they'll oscillate a little in speed, and they vary from speed to speed. They always change. So that's why I always say when it comes to times of arrival, they're estimated. So I would always assume, the best thing to do is always assume it'd be 10 minutes earlier, because as we know, a lot can change in storm speed. I mean, I just give you the best projection that I can give here based off the forward motion. So right here where this bows out right here will be the potential for a strong wind gust right here, moving into the Decatur area right now. So about to move into downtown. And it's crossing over Highway 30 close to Clear Springs, Union Grove, Goodfield, Kyle Subdivision, Decatur Hills, Breedenton, Walnut Grove, Tranquility, Clearwater. These are the communities up here. And Meigs and McMinn counties that are next up in line. It's like Riceville's just about to pull out of this storm. The Georgetown area of McMinn County is actually getting some really heavy rain. So yeah, there is a second Georgetown on here. The other Georgetown is right down here along the Bradley, Meigs, Hamilton County line. But the other Georgetown up in here is southwest of Athens here. That's moving up north of Riceville here. So other areas involved in that include County Road 130, State Route 39, Riceville Elementary School. And so it's a lot of neighborhoods up in here. Suburban Hills. And this is heading out here towards Georgetown Road, County Road 157. And eventually that cell is going to head up here towards Athens here. So again, non-severe at the moment, but heavy cell nonetheless. And then this heavy area right here is right over Camp Ocoee. Moving towards the Silco area, Alacolce, north of Dugan, there in Murray County. Northeast of the Tanga community. There's Ball Play. And it's moving in. This is definitely a Polk County storm now. This cell right here that was warned as a severe storm. This warned part's basically now fully in Polk County. But you still got this heavy line of gusty thunderstorms that's moving across Appleton and up towards the west side of Cleveland, moving into downtown right now. Let's see if the winds are any strong up there. Yeah, at the moment, probably 30 to 40, but so far, as I said, nothing really strikes out, at least on the wind mode, and we'll check on this northern one that just updated. Yeah, probably some 40 to 50 mile-an-hour gusts up here, but at the moment, I'm not seeing a real severe thunderstorm threat at the moment. That warning expires technically doesn't expire technically until about 6:45. Says here a severe thunderstorm was located 7 miles south of Pikeville, moving northeast to 20. That was as of 6:21. So it's moved a pretty good bit since. It's already over here in towards the Decatur. So what I'm going to do actually here is put an updated track on that, considering that just updated. And I'll track it a little faster here at 30, considering it's kind of outpacing the current speed here a little bit. And we'll track it up here close to Sweetwater. So this is going to be close to the area that was impacted by that tornado there from last week. Let's see here. Decatur Hills around 5:35. That's 6:35 Eastern. So within the next 5 minutes, this will be entering the Decatur area. So there's Decatur around 6:35. Tranquility around 6:49. Bogus Crossroad there at 6:52. Murray Store around 6:58. And then Sweetwater just before 7:15. And then East Sweetwater there around 7:19, and Hiawassee College around 7:24. That's from this storm. And I'll be honest with you, we could probably lose this warning. Didn't mean to do that, and the good news is that it looks like they have expired this warning. So the warning for Polk County has been allowed to expire. So some good news there. So if you're in Polk County, your warning's been allowed to expire, and at the moment, at least at the moment, you don't have a risk for a severe thunderstorm anymore. So right now, the only warning that's in place at this moment is here across southern Ray County, eastern Bledsoe, northern Hamilton, and parts of Meigs. But really, the only part of Meigs that's seeing strong storm activity is Decatur, and then eventually that's going to be 10 Mile. But really, most of Ray County, you're out of this now. And down towards Graysville and Hamilton, you're out of this too. I mean, Appison's still seeing some torrential storms, but as far as heavy rainfall and lightning goes, but even the worst of that is moved into Bradley at this point. And even though that's heavy, that's technically currently a non-severe storm. So some good news here at least. We're not seeing any more indications of severe weather at the moment. We're just seeing strong general thunderstorms. So that warning's going to wait out for about another 10 minutes. Another pretty strong storms developed here right over Hubbard's Cove. They're just south of Iowa, moving towards Chestnut Grove and Northcuts. So you got another heavy cell there moving over there, but thankfully currently that's not severe. And in McMinnville, very heavy rain and lightning up here. So there's Shellsford Road, there's Harrison Ferry Road, that's Highway 8 right there. Highway 56, that's Chancery Street, there's the bypass. That's where the mall is and all that out there. This is the area where the heaviest rain and thunderstorm activity is at the moment. There's the McMinnville Airport to the west, getting some torrential rain. Right now it looks like it's moderate pace over here towards Spencer, but again, get ready, it's about to get heavier again. Another heavy cell has popped up here over Fall Creek Falls. But at the moment, we don't have any severe storms there. And then up here towards Bellevue there, right close to where the Bledsoe County Correctional Facility is up here in the northwest end of the county. So State Route 285, 101, Winesap, Village and Indian Rock Lake. Another heavy thunderstorm, and that also extends towards Melvine in Bledsoe County, but that stays north. But that's staying north of Pikeville. Crab Orchard and Ozone in Cumberland County are about to get some more heavy thunderstorms shortly. And then the worst of this is past south of Tellico Plains for the time being, but you got more showers and thunderstorms approaching from the west. And then Decatur's basically getting the worst of this right now. Now they've not extended the warning, so technically this has gone outside the warning polygon and is no longer at least severe at the moment, but still getting some winds in here about 40 to 50 miles an hour, which technically isn't severe, but it's strong enough to, it may bring down a tree limb, but it's definitely going to be noisy, and just be aware of that as that heads up here and pretty much parallels I-75 here pretty soon. So this is going to basically parallel I-75 here as it heads basically from about Athens and up towards Nyota, Sweetwater, and eventually out towards Inglewood, and also Madisonville as you head out towards Monroe County, Tennessee. That's where these storms are heading next. And in Cleveland, the entire city of Cleveland basically right now is getting a very heavy thunderstorm from north to south, east to west. Emmons Street's getting hit hard. Keefe Street's getting hit hard a lot. So Bradley Square Mall's getting hit hard. Just a lot of heavy rain and lightning in that area. So 64 and 74, here's the bypass that goes around town. And then down south towards Wildwood Lake and Flint Springs. Maybe some pea-sized hail down in here, but nothing major there. More heavy rain exists down into Whitfield County, Cohutta, Varnell area. Ringgold, this is passing east of you. It looks like you had a decent lightning bolt right there just now, at least according to radar. But the worst of that's east of you now. Heavy rain over Tunnel Hill. And that's heading towards Dalton. So this area between Lafayette and Dalton, this heavy downpour is heading right towards the Dalton area. So non-severe, but you definitely got a pretty heavy thunderstorm that's about to move into that area. And in Chattooga County, more heavy rain between Trine and Somerville moving east towards Calhoun, but non-severe at the moment. This heavy storm near Rome is currently non-severe too. And as I said, really all the storm action right now, and I can actually kind of draw this out here, it's really along areas north and east of Chattanooga here. So really this zone right in here, at least right now, has the storm activity. So this area I circled here currently has the storm activity. Now this stuff right here will eventually impact Blue Ridge and Ellijay, but it should be at a weaker state by the time it gets there. And same thing with Murphy, North Carolina. But back here to the west, nothing happening yet. But again, what I'm already seeing here, and believe it or not, we're already starting, just as what I was saying earlier, as the malls were showing, we're now starting to get some storms popping up out here to the west. So it does seem like this next round is starting to crank up a little bit out here to the west of the Tennessee River. So again, all this, if you look at the motion of this, that's moving east. So that's moving our way. So all this you see here is moving in our direction. As I said, it will be a while before it gets here. I mean, it probably won't be, as I said, until after sunset sometime before it gets here. So it'll be a little bit. In many areas, it may not be until 9, 10, 11 o'clock even for some areas before it gets here. So as I said, we still got a long way to go here as far as like the overall storm threat is concerned. But I do have some hope that as these storms move in, especially as they cross over the I-24 corridor, we should, and I want to say in parentheses there, should start seeing some weakening here, because these storms out here to the west should run into that more stable environment that we have over the southeast Tennessee and northwest Georgia. That should help, at least hopefully, fingers crossed, keep these tamed and behaved as they move off to these. And again, of course, if we do get a few warnings or anything like that, of course, I'll let you know, and I'll be up tracking that. But then again, we're going to do basically rinse and repeat tomorrow afternoon and evening because we'll have another chance, another opportunity for strong to severe storms. I want to be honest, though, tomorrow's forecast is a little more uncertain. There's still some uncertainty. There's some models that keep the storms south of us and have us getting split, and there's some that have it going over us. So it's kind of a 50-50 split right now as to what will happen. So the good thing here is by morning, though, we'll be able to tell a lot better, especially by morning once we get that morning analysis and all that in and see how things evolve for the rest of the night. And that will give us a better indication by morning of what Saturday will be. But again, all areas again are in a level 2 risk. Again, level 2 slight risk. That means scattered severe storms are possible by definition. Notice I said the word scattered, and even today was scattered on the severe end because not everybody saw a warning. In fact, there's some areas that hardly got much rain. There's some areas that hardly got much. Like, for example, Ellijay and Blue Ridge, you haven't seen anything today. Calhoun hasn't seen anything today. Just as an example there. Just the way it works this time of the year. Some areas there will be areas that get rain, and then you got areas that don't get a drop. And there's a chance for some areas tomorrow it might be the same thing. It may not be the same areas necessarily, but there's a chance tomorrow that some areas may not get much. I mean, there's always that chance. I'm not guaranteeing it, but there's always that chance with this kind of pattern that some crazy things can happen. I mean, some areas may not get a drop. So we'll just have to see how tomorrow evolves, but we really won't know that answer until what these storms today and tonight leave. Because what usually happens this time of the year, and since these storms are kind of trending non-severe, I can actually talk about this real quick. This time of speaking of which, we got that new warning, but real quick, what usually happens this time of the year is usually the storms from the day before, especially considering we haven't had frontal passage yet. So the front's still to the north and hasn't gotten here yet. Since we're still ahead of the front here, what can happen here is these storms can leave out boundaries for the storms the next day to kind of ride along or, all that and such. So we'll have to see where the boundaries from these storms this afternoon, evening, and tonight, where those boundaries go. Because how far south or north those leftover boundaries go will be a factor into where the Saturday afternoon and evening storms will travel. If they set up farther south, then we're looking pretty good. But if they set up farther north, then we're going to be right back in the thick of things, unfortunately. So, as I said, tomorrow's about 50-50 split. But there's a reason why that slight risk is in place. There's a reason for it. It's because it's there out of precaution, and it just lets you know that there's still that chance. And as an overall situation, there's still that risk for a few strong to severe storms that could, of course, a few storms that could turn strong to severe, I should say. So again, heads up there for Saturday afternoon and evening, and we still got another round here tonight. So let's get to this new warning here that just got issued. And this goes into effect through the next hour. This is for Bradley and Polk counties here of Tennessee. This is going to go in effect here through the next hour. So let me get you a time frame there. That's going to go into effect until 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A severe thunderstorm was located near Wildwood Lake or 8 miles south of Cleveland, and it's moving east at 35. And there's your locations in the path include Cleveland, South Cleveland, Wildwood Lake, Collegedale. It's east of there now, but Waterville, Conasauga, Big Frog Mountain, Parksville, Red Clay State Park, and Flint Springs. So the good thing here is right now, if you do have anything, and someone's asking here, can I go to the store in Sale Creek? Yes. I'm not seeing anything else at the moment of any concern. Now, there is a little bit of rain that's heading that way, but I'm not seeing anything impactful at the moment, at least for the next few hours. So for the next few hours, I'm really not seeing anything impactful. So if any of you have like evening plans or anything like that, you are free to do that. So as I said, as long as you're west of these severe weather areas, especially west of I-75, you are good. Just be careful, be mindful of wet roads. If you run into any fallen tree, turn around. But at the moment, at this time, at least at the moment, there's not any imminent severe weather danger, at least for the next few hours. So you're good to do whatever evening activities you got planned. So you can go on with whatever you have, as long as you don't have lightning. Now, if you have an outdoor activity and there's still some thunder rumbling, I would hold off. But if you're in an area where it's not thundering and things are clear, at least for the moment, it will stay that way for at least the next few hours. So you're good to do whatever you want to do here this evening. So let's get into this area here that has the severe weather danger at the moment. This is in Bradley County here. This is on the south side of Cleveland here. It's the same areas that were impacted by that last storm. Now we got another one here. And this is, and I do want to stress here, this warning's basically expired, so we're already approaching expiration time. So this right here to the south is really the only warning. So here's south side of Cleveland. So right down Highway 60, heading east towards Ocoee. There's Highway 411 that runs north-south through there. So Ballplay, Conasauga, Old Fort, Ocoee, Benton Springs. You guys are in line for that storm. That's moving off to the east. But again, at this time, I'm not seeing any other areas of imminent severe weather danger at this time. So that's some good news here. These are the only areas right now that have severe weather imminent. So southern Bradley County, southern Polk County. And I know they technically included part of Hamilton, but Hamilton is out of this. This is well to the east of Hamilton County. So this is mainly a southern Bradley, southern Polk issue. And this does include the Ocoee River here. And does not quite go to Ducktown or Copper Hill, but this is west of there. But if you're out here towards Ducktown or Turtletown or Copper Hill, this storm will head your way here over the next little bit here. It's just something we got to watch here over the next few minutes and see what happens. But at the moment, I'm not seeing any kind of warning for you at the moment. But this could change there as this storm moves off to the east. And you got another one here that will also head your way over the next little bit. So again, as I said, there's just something we got to keep an eye on here for these areas that are still involved. And the good thing here is once we get this storm past, Ducktown, such, this will be out of the area and moving out into western North Carolina. So once we get this out, then that'll be it for at least for this wave. And same with this up in here. Let's check on Athens real quick. Again, heavy thunderstorm over Athens, moving up towards Nyota and eventually Sweetwater and Madisonville, Decatur, Spring City. You guys are also involved in some heavy downpours, but nothing severe. Looks like the worst of this cell is clearing McMinnville now, so the rain is starting to wrap up there. If it hasn't, it will very soon. And it's going to head up here towards Spencer next. So you got another round of heavy rain heading up towards Spencer. And this storm right here, or actually shall I say downpour, is riding right along the Warren-Grundy County line and moving out here towards where 111 and 8 meet. So after this moves through, that'll be it for at least for now. But again, as I said earlier, there's storms out here to the west of I-65 that we're going to have to monitor because those will eventually move east and affect the tri-state here sometime after sunset. So let's get back over here and see what's going on here, especially on the south side of Cleveland. At the moment, not seeing any kind of rotation or anything, just seeing some strong wind in that area. That notch looks a little suspicious, but thankfully it's not rotating. It's mainly downburst wind. And that's going to head out here towards 411 and now towards Big Frog. So Big Frog Mountain's about right here. That's the area this is going towards. And this is also going to pass mostly north of Murray County, so this won't impact Chatsworth, and this really won't impact Blue Ridge, but again, you'll probably get some rain and lightning out there and out towards Ellijay, but the worst of this is going to be to your north by a pretty good bit. So what I'm going to do here real quick here is considering we got this one warning, and thankfully it's the only one at the moment. And we also got a flood advisory that was just issued here. This is for southeastern Hamilton County and for southern Bradley and Polk counties for the next 2 hours. 2 hours and 43 minutes until 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So minor flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly in the advisory area. So locations that will experience flooding include Chattanooga, Cleveland, Wildwood Lake, South Cleveland, East Cleveland, Harrison, Collegedale, Flint Springs, Waterville, Red Clay State Park, McDonald, Appleton, Conasauga, Ooltewah, East Brainerd, and Parksville. So those are the areas that are under the flood advisory until 9:30. This is for flash flooding of low-lying and poor drainage areas and also overflowing poor drainage areas. So that's the flood advisory that was just issued there for portions of Hamilton, Bradley, and Polk counties, and that goes into effect through 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's the flood advisory, but the severe thunderstorm warning goes into effect through the next 42 minutes until 7:30 p.m. Eastern for southern Bradley County, southwestern Polk County. And I know it says here Hamilton, but Hamilton, you're out of this. So, and that's moving to the east there at about 35 miles an hour, which roughly is about 40 miles an hour. also. So again, so areas of southern Bradley County, southwestern Polk, not quite Charleston or Benton. Now, it does not include Charleston or Benton, but it does include Ocoee again. It includes the south side of Cleveland. It includes Conasauga, Parksville area, down towards Ocoee, so the Ocoee River and all that. Whitewater rafting area, that's going to be where this strong to severe storm is moving over at this time. So right now, I'm not seeing any other indications of, like I said, so far I've not seen any real indications of rotation or anything like that. So far, we've avoided tornado warnings, and that's the good thing. I know the tornado risk did kind of slightly increase earlier this afternoon a little bit, but thankfully what's happened here, we had a couple storms that tried to get rotating in our northern areas, but so far they have failed to do that in other areas. So that's a great sign, and really all along that's been the main threat here today has been, as I've said, the high wind gusts, the heavy rain, and the lightning, and some pockets of hail, but so far that's all we've had, and we've had some reports of trees down and such in some areas, but thankfully that's all we've had, at least right now. So that's some good news there, and hopefully we'll continue on this weak trend here for the foreseeable future as far as this evening is concerned. So like I said, I'm also posting this warning information out to the group here, considering Bradley and Polk is in the viewing area here, and I'm actually taking Hamilton out of this because Hamilton is out of the woods on this. But regardless, though, you still have that flood advisory that's in effect that may involve some minor flooding of some low-lying areas there in southeastern Hamilton County into Bradley and Polk, because there's just been so much rain that's fallen over these same areas over and over again. When you have these repeated rounds of showers and thunderstorms, they tend to cause some big flooding issues. And up here towards Athens, you got a pretty heavy storm up there too, heading up towards Nyota and in other areas too. So heading up towards Sweetwater and Madisonville, 10-mile area, and up towards Loudoun County too. You got some pretty rough thunderstorms heading up that way. But thankfully so far, they are non-severe at this time. And let me see if I can find any other reports here. Not seeing anything else that's coming across the wire, at least so far, so that's good. Cleveland's getting hammered. Got a tree down. Yeah, just reading a couple reports I just got in. But at least so far, so the good news is, at least east of Cleveland, I should say. East of Cleveland, the worst of this is gone. So if you're in Cleveland, the worst is to your east. Now, Benton, you're not in the warning here, but you're going to get this heavy thunderstorm here within the next 5 to 10 minutes. The severe thunderstorm warning is in the areas highlighted in this orange that you see on the map. So it's east of McDonald now. I know you're technically still in it out there, but this is east of you now by a good bit. So this is east of Highway 60. So there's a good reference point here. So east of Highway 60 in Bradley County is the main danger zone there. In areas west of Ducktown in Polk County, out here towards the Bradley County line in Ocoee, this zone in here is where the severe weather danger is at this time. And of course, if any other areas get involved, of course I'll put a mention to that. But looks like this cell up here also is actually intensifying up here towards where the Mayfield plant and all is up here on the northeast side of Athens, up here towards Nyota. That's where we have this strong storm indication here. Again, some gusty winds, but so far that storm is that was severe earlier out towards Ray County. Thankfully, that is not quite as strong as it was, but it's still pretty heavy here as it heads up towards Sweetwater and Madisonville here. It'll be up in those areas probably within about 20 minutes. And then down here south real quick, Murray County, Whitfield County, Dalton area, you got a pretty heavy downpour there. Same with Chatsworth and Eton. But so far you don't have anything severe there. In fact, this up here is intensified a little bit. So this is in northern Whitfield County. So right along Keith Valley Road, Mount Pleasant Road. So East Emerson Road, and then out here towards the Murray County line. So Beaverdale, Cohutta Road, Highway 2. This is going to be the zone where the heaviest activity is. There's Gregory. Gregory's in the path of this. There's the airport that's up there. the Petty Farms Airport, the Sunoco gas station up there, it says on there. Cisco is in line for this. The Tenga area is in line too. Again, this is northern Murray County, so this is actually right up here along the Tennessee and Georgia state line. And here's the other heavy thunderstorm that's moving across Big Frog Mountain and heading towards Ducktown, and also Copper Basin area down toward Copper Hill and McKaysville as well. But I'll be honest here with you, I'll look at the velocities here. This storm has really weakened, and that's the good news. I mean, this little, at least as far as the wind mode is concerned, I'll show you the loop here. It was really strong there, and it's kind of pulsed down as of that last scan. So a really good sign here that I do believe we're getting rid of the, with time here, at least from this thunderstorm, it should be on a weaker state. And then up here to the north and west, let's check on this one. Here's Highway 8 up here north and east of Spring Creek in Warren County, moving into Van Buren. Heading up again up here towards Fall Creek Falls, you got a heavy storm there. Again, there's a Brockdale Road. It's going to cross over the Dill community here pretty shortly. And then that's going to head towards Pikeville, Mount Crest. That's going to be this next little area. And then after that, it clears out for several miles until you get back out here towards Selmer, Parsons, Tennessee, Corinth, Mississippi. This is the next wave that's developing out here. So it lets me draw that on here. Here we go. So here's the next wave that's currently in development stages. It's moving like this. So that is moving towards our area. Now there is some hope, of course, that this could weaken, but at the same time, we just got to keep an eye on this just in case it does not. So if it does hold together, it will hit our western counties first here just after sunset, and then the rest of us will follow after that. Now there is a chance some areas may not get much out of this. Some areas may get split, they may stay dry, but so that's always a possibility because these are fairly scattered. But again, there's going to be another storm risk here coming up here in a few hours that we'll have to watch. And down here south, this is a separate wave here, but that's going to be mainly south here. So Gunnersville, Arab, Albertville, Collinsville, and Alabama here. Excuse me. That's another area of heavy rain and thunderstorm activity that's moving east towards the Rome area. So that's going to be sliding down towards Weiss Lake. So if you know anybody down there on Weiss Lake in Cherokee County, Alabama, near Cedar Bluff, you definitely want to make sure they're off the water here because there's some lightning moving in, and you got some strong storms moving in, even a severe storm down near Gadsden and down into Calhoun County, Alabama, that's moving up that way. And then up here to the north, and still getting this hail signature up in here. It's not big hail, but still getting some hail indications here, moving towards the Tenga area, right there along the Polk County, Murray County line there, so right along the Tennessee-North Carolina border. Tennessee-Georgia border, I should say. Moving from west-east from there. Heading out here towards the Cohutta Wilderness there of North Georgia. And heading out here towards Big Frog Mountain. Little Frog Mountain. And up here towards Ducktown, Harbuck, Belltown, McKaysville, Copper Hill area. That's next in line. And up here towards Benton. Heavy storms moving in now. And as I said, Cleveland, you're good. All this is to your east now. And then Charleston, you're almost done with this. This is but most of the heaviest to your east, but you're almost done with the rain. It'll be out of there here within probably about 10 to 20 minutes. And that's going to head out towards Claxton and towards Etowah next. Here's the other heavy cell between Nyota and Englewood, moving up towards Madisonville. Hopewell Mill in Monroe County is also getting a heavy storm. There's one near Coker Creek there that may be a strong one. And here's the severe area. That's tracking right along the Tennessee-Georgia border. Here's the North Carolina border right here. There's Murphy, so that's Cherokee County, North Carolina. So if that holds together, that's going to head out that way and eventually out here towards the Western Carolinas, the upstate of South Carolina. That's where that's going to be heading down the road. But right here, at least at the moment, so crossing 411 in Murray and Polk counties. So Murray County, Georgia, and Polk County, Tennessee. So crossing 411 in those areas. And basically tracking right along the border. Towards McKaysville, Copper Hill. Towards Ducktown. And even towards Farner. I mean, Farner and Turtletown are also in line. So Farner and Turtletown are also in the line of this storm. And that lake right there, that's Persimmon Lake. So you got to hear these big lakes out near western Cherokee County, North Carolina. That's where this storm's heading to. So, again, if you know anybody that's out here on any of these lakes here in North Georgia, so the one right there, it's around Blairsville, that's Nautilus Lake. Or if you know anybody near the one near Blue Ridge, it's Lake Blue Ridge. And down here towards Carter's Lake, there southwest of LJ. If you know anybody that's around these lakes up in here, just make sure they're inside, off the water, or getting inside, getting off the water, because there is lightning and heavy rain moving into those areas shortly, within the hour. Also, Knoxville area is going to be getting some heavy storms here too. And here's this other really heavy cell that actually has intensified a little bit over the last scan. It's getting ready to cross 111 here. Move up here towards Fall Creek Falls and down here towards the Hitchcock's community, Pine Creek. There's 284. So this road right here where it says Welchland, that is Baker Mountain Road. So that's where the exit is right here. And that's where that cell's moving. So it's moving pretty much due west to east here. So that's going to head up here towards Mount Crest, Pikeville area within the next 30 minutes or so. And that's if that holds together. I mean, it's actually holding together it's by its own pretty well. And considering it's on the backside of this big rain shield, it's actually allowing it to have some room to grow. So we'll have to see what that does as that moves farther east. But at the moment, it's a non-severe storm. So that's some good news. At least at the moment, it's non-severe. And there's the other storms back out in West Tennessee that are heading this way here. That'll be here in a few hours. At least for some of us. May not be for all of us, but those storms out west will be here within a few hours. And it says that I'm not really seeing any major indications of very strong wind out here in Polk County or northern Murray County at this time. Just seeing some heavy rain and some gusty winds. So, considering, thankfully, these storms at the moment are on a weakening trend and I'm not seeing any rotation or anything that's really threatening at the moment, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to sign off here, considering we don't have any kind of major threats at the moment. We still got that warning for Polk County for another 30 minutes, so stay advised in that area. And that, again, once that warning expires there at 7:30 Eastern Time, you'll be in the clear from that. So again, so just stay alert out there in Ocoee, up towards McKaysville, Copper Hill, and also towards Ducktown. Those are the areas that need to stay alert for the next 30 minutes until 7:30. That's when that warning expires. And to the north and east, up towards east of Athens into Monroe County, Sweetwater, Madisonville. That's the other strong storm, and also the one over Fall Creek Falls moving to Bledsoe County. But at the moment, those storms are non-severe. If those storms turn severe, or if the storms out to the west prompt warnings in our area, of course, I will be posting updates here throughout the night, so stay tuned for that. And as I always say, stay with Tri-State Area Weather. I will keep you advised. Stay tuned.